fire. What's up, you guys? So I've got Kelly and Jordan on. For those of you guys who have never never seen them, they are two of the most widely known group on X specifically, and I mean they both have YouTubes. Also, I've linked all their accounts in the description. But they have been looking into the theory that Charlie Kirk is alive and that this thing was a gigantic work. And I am going to enjoy letting someone else, try to prove the case as opposed to me just constantly yelling into the ether. And then everybody's like, you're crazy. I'm like, I know I'm crazy, but also I might be right, maybe. So I'm going to bring them both on right now, and I'll let them introduce themselves to you guys, and then we're going to rock and roll. This is Jordan and Kelly. You guys give them whatever intro you want, and we'll get into this thing.
Air support is inbound.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having us, Jesse. Appreciate it. It's wonderful to be here. Great to share the stage with someone who's like-minded. And we are excited to also talk with your audience and share hopefully a little bit more of our insight, maybe open their eyes a little more to some of what we've been working on. And we have some really exciting kind of breaking news too that we want to share today as well.
You guys did tell me that beforehand, and I don't know what it is. So I'm excited to go there. Like, why don't we? So yeah, why don't you can give us the breaking news, and then I'm going to pass the floor over to you guys, and you guys can kind of go through the stuff that you guys have been working on, and I will ask questions because I'm going to have them. I've intentionally not looked too hard at your guys' stuff because I knew that I was going to be having you guys on, and so I would rather, do it live. And Jeannie says, Jordan, you look handsome. You also make me look underdressed, so I am feeling a bit resentful about that, but it's fine. It's fine. So, you got what's the story, the new one?
Well, first, thanks so much for having me on. I really appreciate it. One of the things that separates an investigation from a conspiracy theory is whether or not you're just asking questions or if you're also answering questions. One of the questions we've all had from the very beginning of this case is, what is the hand signal that Dan Flood does in the instant before the shot rings out? No one has had an answer for that. There's been a lot of debate on whether it's just a normal thing that he does for some weird reason, or if it's a defined hand signal. Most of us think it was a defined hand signal, but nobody has been able to identify exactly what hand signal it was. But today, we found a post on X with pretty low view count that figured out exactly what hand signal that was. We know what it's called. We know who came up with it. We know what it means. And I think Kelly did some research on that today. We'll be more prepared to show you what exactly it means.
Well, that is exciting. You were not lying. I'm excited to see that. Yeah. So you guys have like the post itself, and then you show the video of him doing it, and then you can show what they say it was, and it connects.
Yeah.
We think it's a pretty solid hypothesis. You feel free to weigh in and let us know. It's a working hypothesis. We're always open to feedback, but we figured we'd bring it to you first and see what you have to say.
Yeah. So to people really quick, I just realized in the comments, sometimes I do this. I'm like, I just assume that everybody is aware that I've done a series on a 10 or I don't know, a many part series about the theory that the Charlie Kirk assassination was actually a very well orchestrated psyop, where Charlie Kirk actually was not in fact assassinated, and he was the orchestrator of the entire thing. And I realize every time I say these words out of my mouth, I get like halfway, like my blood kind of starts running the opposite direction in my veins, because I know exactly how those words sounded to me the first time someone said them to me, where I was like, oh, okay, this guy's insane. Like this, it sounds completely insane. It sounded like something that should just discredit the person who said it to me. And then over a couple of months, where it was like Inception, where he planted that seed, and then and I was covering the story. So every time that a story would come out, I would at least run it through the filter of like, okay, well, I can't really make sense of this story, what if he's alive and this is that? And like every single time it's like, well, technically that would actually explain the behavior right there. And it was a certain number of times that happened. And then me seeing the very kind of notorious sequence of videos, one of which being yours, of like you recreating what they did. And then especially the one that I showed in episode 2, where the movie effects guy from 4 years ago does a thing where he shows how they slit this guy's throat. It looks so identical to what we saw that day that I was like, whoa. And that's when I started considering it. And then the nail in the coffin, or the final piece that fell together for me was when Candace played the recording of Erica talking to the entire TPUSA team after the memorial. And she talked about their merch sales. You guys, we did 2. And I literally just went, okay, that's it. And I was actually like doing a video at the time. I'm like, bottom line, 2 options. She's a fucking alien or Charlie's alive. There's no third option, because that's what her behavior on that call is impossible. And I still wasn't there. And then I went downstairs, and then the last few pieces clicked in, and I was like, holy shit. So it literally took 2 months of me running constant simulations to get there. But then when I did the series, I have yet to have a single person where I can verify that they watched at least 3 or 4 episodes who can look me in the face and be like, oh yeah, there's no way. The most skeptical people who watch a couple of the episodes are like, oh, you know what I mean? So that's what we're doing here, because these 2 are going to run through their case as well to the people who were in here already. Like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. So I'm going to pass it over to you guys, and then I'm going to make myself into an observer that asks questions. I'm going to add. So whenever you guys want me to put up something new, just let me know, and I'll do that. So take it away.
This is Kelly.
That's you. That's perfect. Or yep, that's my screen. Okay. So this works for you, right, Jordan?
Yes.
Yes. So this is shout out to this creator, this X account, and Corredas, I think is maybe how you say this person's name on X. But I've been in communication with this person today, and they don't even know that we're going to be sharing this today, but we were discussing about them coming on to a future try and prove it episode. And they are still working on their theory a little bit more. But one of the things that really caught our eye within their theory so far that they had hashed out, we're going to show you.
And we're going to not show any actual footage of Charlie getting shot, right? This is just okay.
A photo. This right here is just a photo. And so this is the famous movement, okay, that you see Dan Flood do, right before the incident, okay, where you see him reach over and touch his bicep. Well, that has a name. I'd not seen it referred to as the snake canal, I think is how they pronounce it. Forgive me, I don't know my French, but I apparently this, as I've done a little bit more research. Yep, that's it. The canal gesture. Thank you. Okay, so I see Pat Malone 3186 in the chat has that eagle eye. They spotted it, and that is what this gesture apparently is. It's not just some baseball signal. Okay. And as I started looking into it more, it dates back at least 10 years to this French comedian who started doing this in his shows. And it's an anti-Semitic gesture. And it's supposed to be like the inverse of a Nazi signal.
So,
and
this, just to be clear, this is the signal that he gave like right before the shot.
Yes.
Okay.
The instant before.
So yeah, because like what I've always interpreted those signals to be just at the very end, and I mean, obviously this is all just total hypothesis, but when I watch it, first of all, one thing that I saw is that I don't think that, well, Charlie may initiate it initially, but I am pretty sure that that guy who is there's the so like if this is so if Charlie's facing this way, the guy that is directly to his right and is outside of the ropes wearing a red hat, who's a big guy and he's kind of leaning over, I'm pretty sure that guy is also in on it. And I think he actually initiates the very first, like he's the first one who moved that I saw. But also the reason why I think he's in it is because when Charlie gets shot, that guy does not react at all. He's right there. And he just sits there just completely chilling. He's leaning on it like he's seen this movie 10,000 times, you know, like he just does not move at all. But I also just assumed that what those probably meant were they're like ready, boom, because all of them do something like it's like it's like boom, 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 and then he does this, and he's the one who's going to catch Charlie. So it's like yes. I always assumed that it was like ready, boom. Go. I mean,
so it's a variety of signals. And so I'm going to show you real quick and folks can look it up for themselves. This is the comedian. He has, received a ton of, and let's see, this video is from, you can see 12 years ago. There's a soccer player who now has retired, but he was a world-renowned soccer player, and we can pull him up in just a second. But he actually did the signal. He got in trouble. Tony Parker, who used to play for the San Antonio Spurs, he did the signal at one point. So there were a lot of people who were doing the signal, but this comedian is known for being the kind of originator of it. There were people who were going in front of like the Holocaust Museum and doing it, but he's kind of he's starting the gesture there. He does it a couple more times in this interview, but I wanted to at least sort of initialize showing it to you there. Jordan, do you want
I have the video.
The soccer one?
I have it pulled up already.
Okay.
I have it queued up.
Hang on just for 1 second. Okay, I'm just going to put myself up here. You guys, if it's crazy and you don't like it, then get the fuck out of here and beat it. Okay. Like no one's asking you, no one's making you watch this. Okay. Guys in the chat, they're like, this is fucking crazy. Okay. Then just beat it. Like no one is forcing you to be here. Okay. Bye. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead. Continue, you guys.
Can we swap screen shares?
Yes, please. Let's see. Jesse, would you mind pulling this one down? And then Jordan, could. Let's see, you could take this one off as well. And then Jordan could put his screen up. Sorry, we're complicated.
Or Kelly, do you have it? I don't know if you have it.
Sorry, I was muted. Wait, so am I?
Oh, Jordan was going to try to
put mine up.
Was going to try to put it. Yep, if you can, please.
It's not on this stage.
Okay, so how do I do this? I don't know how to wait.
Okay, it's okay. Just
I almost kicked you by accident. I'm trying to figure out how to take this one down.
That's okay.
Have you guys ever done this on when you're trying to help someone else do it?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, you click remove from stage. I think you already did that on Kelly's. Then you go to mine and then hover over it, and it should give you the option to add to stage.
Otherwise,
mine
I
is add with a soccer player. Yeah.
Here we go. I'm on it. I'm on it already. If you just want to.
The soccer player right there.
Yep. There we go.
Guys, some guy. The thing is I unsubbed for you a while ago, but now you come here and yell at us on Kelly's stage. No, I'm yelling at the handful of people who are screaming in the chat. This is crazy. I'm unsubbing. It's like, okay, fine, dude. I'm believe me, I promise. There's 3,100 people in here. I'm not yelling at you unless you're doing that. Okay.
Okay. Yep. So and depending on which one, so you see people do it in a variety of different ways. They, they do that. Then sometimes they pull their arm up. Sometimes then they will pull their hand down. It's supposed to represent an FU. And you can kind of envision from there the symbolism.
An FU to a specific country. So I find it highly
Yes.
interesting that
Interesting.
they did this hand signal the instant before we think, fake kill Charlie. And one of the leading hypotheses for why they would do this is in order to allow Charlie to escape Israel.
Mm-hmm.
And if they're doing this hand signal the instant before they do it,
Yeah, that would make that lines up for me. That's the thing is when I first like I wasn't like I felt like I kind of had a handle on why they would do it, but the more like since I started this, the more like confident I've been that that is a very strong possibility that that's exactly why they would have done it, is to help him escape. He's wearing a shirt that says freedom on it. He's never worn that shirt before. I looked through, I researched that. He's never worn that shirt. Freedom.
Yeah.
Out.
There's so much symbolism that happened leading up to and has happened since. Erica has said many, many times, she does not believe in coincidences. And so I just say, love her, hate her, whatever, you take her for her word. Okay. And so we are taking some of these things literally, right?
And another aspect of this is when we look,
even the movement potentially that we see Rick Cutler do as he has his arms stretched against the railing in front of him. He has his arm right here, and he does a little something like this. Okay, it's a very small movement, but it's the same type move.
So what put you like? Let's take it back to the beginning though. So like when you guys, this is probably an independent question for each of you, but like when did you guys start to suspect that this is possible? And I mean, obviously none of us know for 100% sure what happened, but like when did it become suspicious enough that you started looking into it, and what triggered it? And then what did that look like? Go ahead, Jordan.
Kelly
Jordan,
first, I think, since she was the first one. Kelly was the first one, so I think she muted.
My dog is barking, so I'm going to go grab my dog real fast because he's barking.
Okay,
so you go for it, Jordan.
I'll go for it first. So I started off without really any strong hypothesis for a while. I wasn't going to say anything about it online publicly for a while. I thought it might have even taken me a year or 2 years to even come to any sort of content on it, because that's my experience with another case that I worked on. It took me like a year or 2 years to come up with a conclusion. But I went through a lot of the theories. I did some physics simulations on Blender to try to figure out what could have explained the shirt behavior and the necklace behavior. And a turning point there was when I did that simulation and I found out that he basically has to have a leaf blower in his lap in order to get the shirt to do that. And in order to get the necklace to do that, I simulated cavitation, didn't work, simulated all these other things, none of it worked in the computer. And then they also did some field tests with cavitation as well that didn't work to recreate the same shirt behavior and the same necklace behavior.
When you say that you simulated in the computer, can you elaborate on that a little bit?
So Blender is 3D animation software. It's artistic software. It's not science software, but it does have physics simulations. So if you want to simulate a shaped charge, you can put a force that simulates a shaped charge on a 3D model in the computer with cloth simulations and necklace simulations and see what it would actually do. So that's what I did in order to find out that this is kind of scary, but he had to have had some kind of explosive device or some kind of leaf blower or something in his lap. Because when I test that, it works perfectly. I was able to reproduce the necklace and the shirt behavior, no problem. But nothing up here is going to cause that. Nothing here's like none of this stuff is going to work in the computer. And then it's verified out in the field with Range Day Bro and Peak Prosperity. They did that test and their results matched the computer. So, and like it's radial expansion of the necklace, not a linear force vector going up, starting at the pendant. That happens when you have a leaf blower in the lap. So that was a scary moment. It's like what on earth is going on here? I was not aware of the fake death theory at that point in time. But once I became aware of that theory, I wasn't latching onto it because it was just math. It was a physicist, all guys who went on to Trigger Smart, and it was just talking about the math of the crack thump delays, putting the rifle round into the van and not into Charlie Kirk. I felt that was compelling, but not enough to adopt the fake death theory. But then later, I saw that Kelly Raybon on Trigger Smart seemed like a pretty normal, reasonable person. And she mentioned that she was on fake death theory. I thought that was odd.
And
so
who,
that
I'm
gave
sorry,
it a
who
lot
was
more
that?
credibility.
Who was that?
Kelly, right here.
Oh,
Kelly.
okay. Okay. I was going to say, I was like, oh, there's another.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it. Yeah. Sorry.
No, Kelly right here. So that got me even more interested in it. And then I decided to look deeper into it. And I found out there was a course, like a 4-hour long course online on squibs. So I took that course. And through taking that course, I realized that there's a problem that happens when you try to apply this squib technology to live theater, which is essentially what Charlie Kirk at UVU was. You can't stop the camera. You can't control camera angles. You can't control lighting. You can't control any of these things like you can in film. What you need to do is you need to cut the prosthetic in order to let blood out. You must do that. If you pre-cut the prosthetic for Charlie Kirk and he lifts his head, it comes open and you can see it. If he turns his head too sharply and you just glued it, it might come open. Or when you pressurize it with blood, it might pop out one of the seams. So you have to come up with a way to cut the prosthetic at the moment of blood delivery. So I thought, well, we have something shooting directly into his neck, it looks like, from down here. I wonder if that's what that was doing. Not causing a lethal injury, but cutting the prosthetic. And once I realized that, that's when I adopted fake death theory, because it's the only theory that actually makes sense of that. Kelly?
So you just to follow up on that. Well, first of all, just as a kind of a broader comment, the way that you analyzed this is through you are looking at this. How could this thing that you saw happen if you can't recreate it? And the reason why I'm asking that is I'm always very interested in how people analyze things, because they analyze the same event very differently. Like Valhalla, when I did the first episode, and he watched it, I had a whole different I was going to do different episodes in a different order, but he was like, I can't even watch this. He's like, if you can't tell me how I saw cavitation that matches what I've seen in real life, then what are we talking about? And I was like, oh, because it just didn't dawn on me, because I was basing my thing on all of their behavior. I was like mine was exclusively on their behavior. I'm like, there's some way to explain that, but so you're that's interesting. And everything you said, I was like, I want to hear a lot more about that. So do you feel like you have a specific method with which they were able to recreate that?
Yeah, and I have notes here that I can go into once we really get down into it.
Okay.
Once Kelly shares.
Awesome. Yeah. So Kelly, tell me your process.
Well, so that very first day, let me rewind a little bit. I am a former TV investigative journalist. So for 12 years, I worked as an investigative reporter all over the country, including in Austin. And my last stop was in Houston, Texas, where I live now. But I've been out of the game for a little bit. When I saw what happened that day, right away, I started screen recording videos on X, but something about it just felt off. The amount of blood and the way that I saw the blood come from his neck, just something about it just didn't sit right with me. But I couldn't put my finger on it. And really, I have to credit my son, who at the time was 9. he saw the video, and you guys can call me a bad mom or whatever, but the reality is kids see things these days. And when he saw the video, he was the first one to tell me the term blood squib. And I had never heard that term before. Like, I thought that it was potentially faked based on contextual clues. And I really felt that way when I saw Erica on was it the 12th or the 13th, when she made her address to the nation.
The first one?
Yes, the very first one. When she was standing behind Charlie's chair, I called my mom and I said, "Mom, this looks like a really bad Lifetime movie." Little did I know this would be an ongoing daily Netflix saga for the next year, right? Beyond what we could even imagine. But I just could tell, like, I had a visceral reaction to her right away. I could tell, like, I felt evil through the screen. I'll just say that.
I definitely felt something was I always say this. I could not watch a consecutive 25 seconds of her. Literally, like, that's not exaggeration. As soon as she would start talking, I was like, oh my God. And my blood would run cold. And then people would talk about what they saw, and I'd be able to watch people's analysis of it, but I could not watch her at all.
And I've watched old videos, and I don't always get that same vibe from the old videos, which is interesting. Sometimes I could tell that she's putting on, and I have a lot of friends in the pageant world. Okay. I know several Miss Texases. I know even a Miss Universe. Okay. So I know people in the pageant world. I know lots of TV folks. And so I know people who are, I guess would say, the showbiz type, right? Mm-hmm. This is a whole different world. What we're seeing here. This is very, very different. So I use all these context clues, and none of it sits right with me. So it was logical to me. And I thought, I'm going to stick my neck out.
Sorry, I apologize. I'm sorry. I was just going to say to the chat, what I think I want to do throughout this one, because I see a lot of actual good input here, is I'm just going to watch the chat, and then I'm going to throw things up on the screen that for the chat to think about, and then for us to think about, and then we can kind of address those things later on. I apologize. Go ahead, Kelly.
Oh yeah. So I knew that it was going to be controversial, but I had to just go ahead and do something. I could not just sit back and keep my thoughts and opinions to myself. Now, I have a large Instagram following. That has been my kind of bread and butter for a long time, as a social media world. But X was harder to break into, and YouTube was harder to break into. So anyway, once I was able to do that, I was able to finally connect with people who I could start to really investigate with.
Is anybody else hearing this? It's saying the audio is echoing. I do not hear an echo. Does anybody else in the chat hear that? Go ahead. Sorry, keep going. I just wanted to see.
No, that's fine. Okay. So I don't have the resources to be able, or the time. I'm a single mom. I have 2 little boys. And so I don't have the resources or the time to be able to try to recreate the event myself. But I do have the know-how when it comes to investigating logistics. I mean, I started pulling the 990s right away. I have the know-how when it comes to investigating a nonprofit, investigating people, investigating backgrounds. And of course, they just kept giving us so much material. And so that's how I started putting my case together. But once Jordan got into we were able to connect. It was great for him to be able to put his interest in the physical side of things, and then my interest in the contextual side of things together.
That's awesome. So I just changed the audio in case, and I don't know, most people said it was fine, but I put the audio in my ear in case it's me.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, so okay, so when you guys first connected, well, actually, tell me, Kelly, real quick about when you were suspicious of Erica. There was something off. Like, so what were some of the things that, like, when did you get to that you thought that they faked it? Like, was there like a moment where you entertained? And again, like, to everybody in the chat, like, there's like whoever thinks they know for sure what happened in this case, I promise you don't. Like, no one knows for sure. So it's just a matter of like, I mean, everybody's investigating all kinds of stuff. But the only theory that I've seen that has at least an answer for every problem. Everyone agrees this right here is a problem. Like this can't, like, doesn't make any sense. The only theory that I've seen that answers all of them is this one. You know,
Now they're saying that there's an echo.
well, no, I actually am hearing. Okay. Yeah. So it's on, I think it's on your end, Kelly, because now I can hear it actually, now that I have headphones in.
Okay.
I don't hear any.
I do on hers for some reason, but it's not terrible.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I actually, no, they're not trolling. I actually can hear it a little bit, but anyway, so I'm sorry. So Kelly, do you have like a moment when you decided that this was the most likely thing?
Yeah. So I think looking essentially at the way that they responded to Charlie, it made absolutely no sense to me. Bottom line, the going and tipping him over, and it seemed like there was no way that they were treating him at all. And right away I started looking into Dan Flood's background, Brian Harpole's background, and I found that Brian Harpole had certifications a mile long. Dan Flood had training. I mean, Brian Harpole has an immense amount of training. And as I was watching, sorry to say it, but all the gun bros defend the security guys early on, I'm sitting here thinking to myself, no. They knew better. They're not back there treating him. They're not back there. I don't see any gauze. I don't see anybody's t-shirt coming off, trying to, apply pressure, trying to do anything. And in fact, they're carrying him out like a rag doll and trying to just get him out as fast as they could. Like, it just did not make sense. And so the only way that I could justify that was that they were trying to, and the fact that there were the EMS guys right there. So the only way I could justify it was that they were trying to get him out as quickly as possible so no one could lay hands on him.
Yeah.
To save him, because they didn't want anyone to actually touch him because he wasn't really, really hurt.
Yeah. And they had the first responders who were there, they ran over and tried to treat him, and then they were basically blocked out. Like, they were almost like they were basically boxed out. And then when they were taking Charlie from where he was shot to the SUV, and they've got all those guys around, the first responders came over and they were trying to treat, and then they just tried to hand them the trauma bag, and they iced him out and didn't look at him, didn't take it. And it was like, okay, that's weird, man. And there also was, so the first people that I saw, like, I remember all these things that I saw that didn't register at the time, but then kind of came together. But the people who talked about that portion that you're talking about, where the security went over the wall or over the table, and then it was Valhalla, and it was another guy who I can't remember who it was, but he was also a very, very experienced combat veteran. And both of them were like, where is all of the, like, because they've had to treat their buddies who've been shot a million times. And they're like, where's the blood? They're like, there's no blood on their hands. There's no blood on their shoes. Like, these guys are, and at the time, the suspicion, of course, is why are they not trying to help him? Like, so it's like, why hasn't someone stuck their hands into the wound? Or like, why hasn't someone done, you know what I mean? So, and it just all came back later when I started putting all of this stuff together. You know what I mean?
And this is also, now that we're talking about this, I mean, it's been a long 7.5 months. Okay. So this is all kind of coming back to me. But interestingly, when I was in college, I actually worked for campus security. I worked for the chief of police, and I was on student government and was responsible for helping to approve events. And so I had, granted, at this point, it was about 20 years ago, but at least, even though I was at a small university, I had experience in planning events. And I remember we had Bob Dole, attending I went to Texas Lutheran University. And so anyway, it was a big deal. We knew better than to just like let the campus be wide open. We had a narrowed off event. We had ticketing. We had, it wasn't just a free for all. And so given the fact that they claimed that there had been threats, that they claimed that Charlie was concerned, that, they were worried about all of these things, and he had high dollar security, it made absolutely no sense that they would just let it be wide open, unless they were trying to create a narrative that would potentially allow for something like this to keep the door open.
Yeah. And like for me and Jordan, I'm going to we'll do some super chats in a second. And then Jordan, I'm going to throw it over to you and we can start going down that portion. But like so when I was doing my investigation of this thing, I was completely convinced by part of the official story. I like the idea that Tyler Robinson did it by himself was unfathomable to me. However, the fact that there was all of these, messages put out on social media that clearly indicated that there was pre-knowledge that they were all going to be there. The story that, Phil Lyman told on the InfoWars, which I hadn't put together yet, that he saw these two girls that were not afraid. All these people not afraid. The guy cheering and all of these weird things. I'm like, I didn't believe that he did it himself. I thought for sure that this was a much larger leftist conspiracy, and I didn't understand why they were not looking into many more of these people. And I was operating under the assumption that they must be tapping their phones and they're trying to get everyone who's involved. Like that has to be the answer. And that's kind of where my coverage was. So I honestly was ignoring all of this stuff that came out later, where when Candace and a lot of other people were looking at the behavior of the people on the day of, I was barely even watching it because I was like, God, there's no way. Like, why would TPUSA kill Charlie? I just ignored all of it. I didn't even look at it really. I watched the shows, but I didn't take it very seriously. And I mean, it's like everybody kind of went through their own, process to get to where they are. But to me, everyone was looking so hard at Israel, and I just couldn't get there. And then as I've watched recently, now that is a huge impact, but for a different reason. You know what I mean? It's like, I think Charlie really did think they were going to whack him out, and they probably would have, or did, but, okay, let me go through some of these super chats and I'm going to pass it over to Jordan. Fuzzyball says, Jesse, you have to watch this video when you get a chance. Exclusive Texas State TPUSA member just quit, dropping scathing resignation letter. I absolutely will look at that, and I will do a reaction to that. Thank you very much, good sir. Draco, thank you very much. Charlie may or may not be alive, but either way, there's too much weird stuff. It definitely has to be an inside job. I mean, at this point, completely agree with you. Like where, again, that seemed impossible to me at the beginning, that anyone at TPUSA would be involved. And at this point, I think it is completely undeniable. I don't think that there's, anybody who's actually looked at it closely could even deny that, which is, again, where I'm at is like my opinion in many cases, or like broadly, comes from my faith in humanity, where I'm like, there's no way that like all of these people that are his best friends would, it's like, if they really did, like if they all conspired to whack him out, like I'm out, dude. Like I can't live in a world like that, where people that, when I watched all the videos of them from before, I'm like, if these guys would actually conspire to murder this dude, like I'm done, dude. I'm just going to take my family and move to a ranch and just be done with it. You know what I mean? And Jeruska, thank you very much. I greet you very much. I thank you very much. I'm not. And then Mandy says, did Jordan ask if you had a moment to talk about your car's extended warranty? Nope. I do not know what that means. Oh, because of the suit? Because of the suit? Okay. Blake,
Cute.
dude, you can't, no. We can't reschedule the debate, my man. You canceled and lied. Oh, sorry. We did the echo thing. And Jen, thank you for pointing that out. Hit the light. I commented. I'm helping. Thank you very much, good sir. Noel says, hey, Jesse, I think Charlie did plan to fake his death, and he was double-crossed when they got him in the car for real. It explains the lies, Scarica. So this particular, I'm glad you brought this up, because this theory, I think, does the best job of demonstrating how palpable and impactful it is when people see something with their own eyes. Because it's one of those things where, like, if people like, if you can look at what happened at the campus and go, you know what? They really might have faked this thing. But then I think they killed him in the car. What you're saying actually is that seeing the event yourself has literally turned it into an unmitigated fact that he's now dead, because that makes no sense. You know what I mean? Like there's literally no, and I'm not saying this to like attack you. I'm saying like there is absolutely zero realistic evidence that if they faked it and got him out of there alive, that then he got killed later, because all of their behavior after the event supports the exact opposite of that. But anyway, appreciate the super chat. Thank you very much. Casey News, thank you very much. And almost done with these things. All right. So T. Kurtz, thank you for the super chat. My best friend was killed in 2009 to a slashing wound to his neck. Crime pics showed blood on the walls, the floors, the hallway, into the bathroom, into the living room. CK blood loss does not remotely compare. See, and I'm sorry about your friend. And I have basically anyone I know who has any experience with serious trauma, like especially if someone dies from the trauma, and in many, from blood loss, especially, that is one of the things that they all describe. They're like, you can't even fathom how much blood there was. Like they just, it seems impossible that amount of blood could like fit in the body. They all say that. And I haven't seen that personally. And if I had, I wouldn't tell you. I'm just kidding. But yeah, I mean, so whenever I say there's no blood, people comment to me about the blood that's on his shirt. And I'm like, I don't mean like there's no blood. I mean, like there is a shockingly enormous gap between what we saw initially and what came afterwards. He's wearing a white shirt. The white shirt should be absolutely drenched in blood. Every single person who's a nurse, doctor, anyone who I've talked to, or combat veterans, every single one of them goes, I'm like, is there any scenario where the white shirt would not be just in there? Like, no, there's no, like, no. In my experience, drenched completely, and there'd be blood all over everybody.
The tent, the tablecloth, the grass, the everything. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And Jen commented, if Charlie's still alive, it would completely explain Erica's 100%. And that is why, honestly, exactly what I was just talking about as it relates to he meant to fake it and then he got in the car and they juked it. That, in my opinion, is heavily what we are actually looking at with Erica, is because people's interpretation of her behavior was, dude, like the night Charlie got killed, my wife and I cried, dude. Like I have no shame about that. Like cried hard. Like it was just like, and then when you're watching her and she is displaying like none of that, and you're like, that's her husband. Like what is wrong with her? And the level of how bad that makes you feel and how suspicious it makes you feel towards her, it's hard to shake off. You know what I mean? And I think that is, I think that's probably going on. Or she also could, I mean, both things could be true. They could have juked it, and she could be a CIA evil, whatever, which, she obviously got a very curious background. The next video I'm doing, just because I'll tell you guys, is supposedly a Romanian Angel survivor that came forward. So that's what I'm going to be working on either later tonight or tomorrow. Fuzzy, what's up, man? Thank you again. Erica's kids vanished. They must be with Charlie. Correct. That's exactly right. And when people ask me that, they're all, so where's Charlie? I'm like, how the hell would I know where Charlie is? And they're like, so he's going to agree to never see his wife, never see his kids? I'm like, exact opposite of that. The exact opposite. Like he's with them all the time. Erica flies in for work, flies out. He, deals with the inner circle through Zoom, etc. Stephanie, thank you very much. Why have a patsy and all bring more attention if they want to fake it? Why not just act as if it's unsolved? Why bring in more moving parts? I mean, it's a good question. And honestly, the Tyler Robinson portion is the one where I can't square whether or not he is an unwitting patsy, a partner, someone who they they got into his search history or whatever, like saw that he was downloading horrific darknet videos, because there's stuff that someone could consume that in my opinion is like, you're done. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care. Like, if you're watching that, like, if you guys have ever looked into what kind of stuff is on the dark web, like if you want to go as hardcore as it gets, a person who would intentionally watch that stuff more than even if you wanted to watch it once, you're on thin ice with me once. If it's something that someone was consistently watching, I'd be like, that guy can go. Like, that dude can go. So maybe it's that, or they're in on it. You know what I mean? And Draco, thank you very much. Very generous. George Zinn, this is exactly why I'm suspicious of that. George Zinn pulled his pants down during the CK yelling, I did it. Did an interview remembering 9/11, threatened Salt Lake City. Exactly. And then the day after he said, I was supposed to get money, he gets charged with kitty corn. Right. And then he's off the map. So I think that they might have blackmailed him, and then he broke the terms, and then they rung him up. You know what I mean? Nancy, thank you very much. Absolutely love your show. But what would the whole point of faking his death be? He would have to hide away the rest of his Okay. So there's a link in my description. The Manufactured Martyr. I go through all of that stuff. And a lot of that is actually just in the first episode. And then Camille, will we ever see Charlie again? No chance. This is a one-way ticket. And, but his inner circle will see him all the time. Okay, sorry about that. We're gonna cut that off. And Jordan, rock and roll, my dude. Tell us about your process and all of the things you did to kind of recreate it. And also, I'm very curious how you think that they actually created that. The rupture in the prosthetic and all of that.
Sure, perfect. So I'm going to start presenting a little bit of background, and then we'll get into the nitty-gritty on exactly what visual anomalies we see, and then how we rule out some other theories, and then we'll get into the very specific sequence of events that I believe happened that explain every single visual anomaly. First, I want to note that Kelly and I are close collaborators, co-hosts, but we do not necessarily agree on everything. I may say things that Kelly disagrees with, and Kelly might say things I disagree with.
If you guys shoot me the link to your guys' collaborative show, I'll put that in the description right now, because I have your guys' shows, but not that.
I got it, Jordan. I'll do it.
And Kelly will. Thank you. I want to start off here with a note on science. What is the best pathway to truth? If we want to find out what happened to Charlie Kirk for sure, what's the best pathway to finding out for sure? I think it's science. I don't think it's the justice system. I don't think the justice system is really geared for accuracy. I think it's geared for efficiency and some other things, and for winning and losing and stuff like that. Science is a much better pathway to truth, because it is, what we do is we form hypotheses. We look at something that doesn't make sense, and then we take a guess. We think that maybe this is what happened. This is the explanation. And then we test that hypothesis to find out whether or not that hypothesis explanation can actually reproduce what we see. Once we demonstrate that something can, once we demonstrate that a hypothesis can reproduce the observable that we see, then it becomes a candidate explanation. Doesn't mean that's what the actual cause is. That just means it's a candidate explanation that has explanatory power. Once we do that, then we have to prove that this explanation is what actually happened. But science is about demonstrating that your explanation actually can happen, and proving that your explanation is what actually happened. So what I'll start with is, why do I think, and I think Kelly, why do we think it was faked? Just real fast, my primary reason is the shirt behavior, the way the shirt pulls up to his ear. I find that highly anomalous for any weapon system whatsoever. We also have no exit wound, which is yet to be reproduced with a weapon system, or with a 30-06 or comparable round. They've tried all the specialty rounds, none of them work. They all exit when it's chambered in 30-06. Also, if the mission objective is to kill, you would just shoot him from the Losi Center. We have all these other theories about exploding microphone, the drones, the pistol gun, all these other crazy conspiracy theories but all of them share the same objective, which is to kill. But if that is your mission objective, you would go with the most reliable kill method, which is a gunshot wound. And you already have a rifle on the low-Z roof, I think, that is firing a shot. So, because we have audio telling us that, so you would just shoot him. So, like, what's going on here? It doesn't work if that's the mission objective. You would use the simplest, most effective option. And then Kelly and Jesse's reason is to contextual behavioral patterns afterward, which appear to be incompatible with any normative presentation of grief, guilt, or anxiety. In large numbers, these presentations are difficult to explain under the death model. However, they become palatable once you go into the faked death model. First, let's start off with some of the anomalies in the case, just contextual, that tell us that maybe something else is going on. First of all, we have no interim CEO after the CEO passes. That's pretty unusual. They appoint a wife, a spouse, within, I think, the first week. That's highly anomalous. The wife exerts right to a speedy trial, which is highly anomalous. That's not something that the victim does. That's something that the defendant does. We also have the body flown on Air Force Two, which is the only time in history where a private citizen's body has been flown on Air Force Two. That is not just an anomaly. That is the first time that has ever happened. We also have the entire federal government present in one room for a private citizen's memorial, which presents a lot of issues for continuity of government if something were to happen there. And there's no context for that. There's no precedent for that. For basically the entire cabinet, all of the succession for presidency, all in one room for a private citizen's memorial. This is more consistent with the death of a former or sitting president, not with a private citizen. We also have an immediate FBI involvement despite no federal case. So we have a lot of odd things with the federal government with this case. And we also have some odd things with TPUSA. Do these things mean it's fake? No, it just means that we should look a lot closer at this case. But how do we arrive at the conclusion it was a squib and not something else? Well, do we have the photos, Kelly?
Yes, I can start pulling up photos.
Can we pull up the belly bulge photo? I think it's on my
Yes.
X if you don't already have it.
Yep. I have one of those.
Hey, I can relate to this guy. I thought it was fake from day one. Everyone said I was nuts. I know what that feels like.
One moment.
So I'll go ahead and list them out while she does that.
Okay.
How do we arrive at the conclusion it was a squib and not something else? First of all, we have a bulge on Charlie Kirk's belly that is present in nearly every single photograph of that part of his body. There's a pronounced bulge under his shirt. We also have a photo of his lip that appears as though he has a full face prosthetic on it. We also have extensive cases of movement of his hands and arms well after the shot, despite decorticate posturing immediately after the shot, but that decorticate posturing is not sustained. Typically, when you go into that posture, you would expect it to be maintained, but it is not. It just immediately fades, which is not consistent with a real decorticate posturing caused by real brain damage. But we have cases where his wrist flips up when not acted on by an outside force. We have cases of his fingers appearing to move like that when not acted on by outside forces. And we have other cases as well where we appear to observe directed movement by Charlie Kirk. We also have no loss of flesh tone, despite apparent extreme blood loss. His skin tone as he's carried out appears normal. But when someone gets a panic attack or something, we would expect them to start getting white pretty quickly within seconds. But we have no notable loss of flesh tone on his skin, especially in his outer extremities, where we would expect to see some if he just bled out, but it's just normal red skin tone. We also have very little evidence of blood, hopefully we can pull up a photo of the security team. They have just a little bit of smearing, just a little dab here, a little dab there.
Do you want me to add what's back? Do you want me to add the screen to the stage? But that particular thing, I've gotten a video dinged, like I got a video smashed for that exact thing. But just
Okay.
if you guys what the screen that you guys are sharing backstage, if you want me to put it up, just ask and I'll just put it right up. That's the exact picture that got me demonetized.
Okay. All right. We won't.
Okay.
Then we won't do that one.
The exact picture. Yeah.
Okay. All right. We won't do that one. How about, let's see if, okay, hold on. Not that one.
I mean, that one you could see the hose.
This one.
Yeah, it's right. Like, right. You know, you can see it right there, like on the left side of the screen, right underneath the shirt. Yep. But go ahead. I mean, you guys go through whatever you guys want.
Can we pull up the belly bulge?
Yes, I am. I think it's a little bit further down. Oh, you think it's at the top? Okay.
No, because we just did that Sunday. Is that I think that's my profile.
This is yours.
Yeah, that's my profile. Yeah,
Yep.
It's at the top because we just did this Sunday. It's right there at the top on the right.
There we go.
Yeah. So we have a pronounced belly bulge on Charlie Kirk. And we'll get into the picture on the right there soon, where I reproduce that exact belly bulge within the context of squid. We also have the lip photo. Would we be able to pull that up?
Sure thing.
Where it appears as though there is a seam on his lip that indicates to me that he is wearing a full face prosthetic. I think that's a pretty good one. I've not been able to reproduce that seam on my lip, and no one, as far as I know, has been able to provide a photograph of anyone else with that same seam on their lip. And can we get the wider shot of that? It was right by it. The one two squares down, where it shows exactly where that photo was. 2 squares down. Yeah, that one. And that also includes an example of what a full face prosthetic looks like in the makeup room. And I believe that's what that is, because I'm not able to reproduce that same seam on myself, and no one else, when prompted, has been able to. And I think Kelly also reached out to a lot of her people who were qualified in that area. And I do not believe we received a medical explanation for that.
Yes, I reached out to multiple folks who are both cosmetic dentists, and then also several people in the aesthetics field who work either cosmetic surgery or work with lip injections, cosmetic nurses, etc.
And I think that's the end of that list there, except for one more. We also have atypical blood flow pattern coming out of the neck wound. It's atypical.
Yeah. Skip.
We won't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not going to do that one.
Yep.
But we have atypical blood flow pattern, which does not appear to be consistent with what you would expect from a normal, real neck wound. There's no spray. There's no blood atomization. Nothing like that. It appears to be far more consistent with what you would expect from a squib, or from a blood delivery system under a prosthetic, aka a appliance. Moving on to visual anomalies that we see of the event directly around the time of the shot. The first thing we see, can we pull up my profile banner?
Sure.
Please. Perfect, thank you. So the visual anomalies are, number one, we see the back of the shirt puff out first. You can kind of see it in this image, but not so much. It looks a lot better in a different camera angle. But the first thing we see is the back of the shirt puffs out first. That is highly unusual. Then we see the front of the shirt yank up all the way to the ear, which we can see on the bottom row there. And then we see the necklace fly in a linear motion upwards and back, appearing to start at the pendant. Then we see apparent white smoke billowing out of the shirt in a couple video frames, there's like this white mist kind of coming out.
Yeah, we're cooked on this.
We also
picture for
see,
sure.
we are.
Yeah, for sure. On my channel, 1,000%. Probably, I mean,
That's crazy.
95% cooked. Like I'll end up
That's
having,
crazy,
they'll
man.
make me, yeah, they'll make 100% actually. Yep. I mean, there's the only
That's
chance we have is
crazy.
that, yeah, we should take it off. Like, unless, but I mean, people have seen it now. But yeah, only because it's small, maybe, but probably.
That's crazy. It must be because it's a bigger channel.
I've had probably 12 to 13 videos get slammed. Yeah. And like every time I look, I'm like, what? Like, dude, I get them where there's something like that. And I have a gigantic censored over 80% of it. And they still demonetize. And then I appeal it. It makes no sense. I don't know.
But
like,
then will they let you cut that part? And then
sometimes I've been able to cut it out. And then, and other times it has,
okay. Well, fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Why do we take my X off then? Just so that we don't accidentally show something. I think we're done with the image sharing.
Okay.
If we can get that off the stage. Perfect. All right. So then we have blood appearing thick and coagulated, which is inconsistent with coming from a recently alive host. A lot of doctors have said that it's way too thick to have come from a living person. Outside the event itself, we have what appears to be a fake body in the casket because the hands are the incorrect size compared to Erica Kirk's. Do you have your fake hands?
Oh, Kelly? Yes, I can grab this real quick. Stand by.
Yeah, so we have
that Baron did show me, like, so Baron showed me and he's very agnostic, you know, like he says he's not with the theory, but like he has shown me things that would support it and show me things that wouldn't. And on this particular one, I'll just tell the audience that he showed me you can actually see the burns on Charlie's hand from the day of, and then on the, you know, the casket day, you actually can see what appears to be those burns. You know, it's just something I would be being dishonest if I didn't at least say that I've seen. You know what I mean?
I've done transparencies with that.
Are you ready for this?
Yep.
That's what the hands look like. And the biggest issue is they're just way too small. We have a photo of Charlie's hand up against Erica's hand at the same plane, at the same distance, at the same focal length. And his hand is twice as big as Erica's. But when we look at the casket video posted to Erica Kirk's Instagram, her hand is directly up against the body's hands, and they're the same size. So this cannot be accounted for by optics, by lens, by anything like that, not by depth, not by anything like that. The hands are simply the wrong size. So it is either a different body, not Charlie Kirk's, or it is a fake body like Kelly is demonstrating there. We have the objection raised of the burn marks. However, those burn marks do not line up when you do a transparency. When you put one transparent over the other, they do not match. They're close, but they're not a match. According to the work that I've done, I could be wrong, but I could not get them to match. They were different. And those could also be painted on later. And I also think that what we're actually seeing are not burn marks. They're just blood spatter. All right, we also have uncertainty around whether the autopsy was performed, and we also have him not buried after 90 days, allegedly. We also have we still have Charlie Kirk on the board on the TPUSA website, like 7 months after. I last checked it 7 months after, which is highly anomalous. Okay, real quickly, I will go through all the other theories and how I've rolled them out as to what physically happened to Charlie Kirk. We have the origin of shirt deformation. Okay, the exploding microphone theory first, because that's the most dominant one. We can rule that out because the origin of shirt deformation, which is down here, that is inconsistent with an actual origin point up here. Our origin point of shirt deformation is down here, which is greater than a foot away from the proposed origin. So that is inconsistent, and that alone rules out that theory. It's simply in the wrong spot. We also have lack of exhaust. So if we're going to go with the exploding pendant theory, there is no exhaust going opposite the direction of travel if there is a shape charge inside the pendant here. Like, I have to go, I'm super thin. So if you have a shape charge inside the pendant here going down in order to propel the pendant up, you would expect to see vapor going opposite the direction of projectile travel, but instead we see it going the same direction as projectile travel. So the explosion, overpressure, whatever it is, cannot be coming from the projectile itself. Otherwise, we would see the shirt go down, not up. Shirt necklace behavior cannot be explained by electrocution, so we can rule that out. Cavitation causes radial expansion of the necklace, not linear thrust vector as observed. So it is not a rifle shot causing the shirt or the necklace behavior. The palm pistol theory has no recoil. It is out of time. It is like a few frames late, and you would not expect to see cavitation for such a small bullet. So that does not explain the shirt or necklace behavior. The drone theory observations are better explained by the dragonflies that are verified to be present. Spy planes theory is ruled out by incompatible mission profile designs. The Hades spy plane is designed for launching aircraft at flight altitude, at cruising altitude, which is tens of thousands of feet in the air, not 200 feet AGL. So we can rule that out because that's not where you deploy drones. The flight profile that we observed for that aircraft doing a low pass over the lake is consistent with a missed approach procedure and training. And it turns out that aircraft was a training aircraft at the time. So that is why they would have been doing that missed approach flight profile that day. And we do have many examples of that exact same aircraft performing the exact same training flight profile at other airports. So that explains the spy plane. The second shooter theories are ruled out by the crack thump analyses by verified experts. That's the audio analysis. That conclusively places the rifle shot at about 139 yards from Charlie Kirk. And then the second shooter theory, including a 300 blackout sub suppressed, is ruled out by the need for cavitation. A subsonic round is not going to cause that amount of cavitation in order to explain the shirt and necklace behavior. So those are my rule outs for all of those theories. So now we get to my theory, sequence of events. If we want to do the Charlie Kirk squib, what do we need to do? We need to hire a Hollywood blood effects and prosthetics expert with experience not just in Hollywood, but also in theater. Because what we're doing here is live theater. Because Charlie Kirk has to basically perform in what's effectively an arena stage where you have total 360-degree access, visual access to him. You have people very close up to him. He has to be able to throw hats. He has to be able to get in and out of a vehicle. He has to sit down, stand up, and he has to get very up close and personal with the local TPUSA chapter. So this is arena theater, and the tools you would need in order to do a Hollywood squib in this context are very, very different from what you would use in Hollywood, because you have total control over the entire environment in Hollywood, but not here. So the level of difficulty is orders of magnitude more difficult in this context. So the technology has to exist elsewhere in elite circles in order to do this, because it is so specialized. When you do this type of stuff for Hollywood in that context, they do it every single day. But when you do this squib stuff for live theater in this context, where it's super big budget and super high risk, there has to be technology out there that's already developed for this type of application, because it is so difficult to do. It's taken me many months to do it. I'm not working on it full time, but I've seen how many problems you have to solve that are not present in the Hollywood application. Like, why? Because in Hollywood, you can turn the camera off, you can do multiple takes, you can go up to the actor and cut it, and then do another take with it cut. If it doesn't work, it's no big deal. You don't have to have the same disguisability. You don't have to have the same comfort. and you do not have to have the same durability, because you're not sending the actor out into the real world with real people who are not in on it in order to walk around, sit down, stand up, not have any hoses connected to him, not have any wires connected to him. He has to, like, the level of difficulty here is significantly more than in Hollywood. So you need a cutting mechanism, and you also have extreme mobility, disguisability, and durability requirements. So you need a specialist in this use case, not in Hollywood, but in theater applications. Once you have that expert with that hopefully pre-designed system, you have to rehearse with an actor who's not Charlie Kirk, who's not related to this, many times in order to ensure reliability. That's the stage I'm in right now with Kelly. We are ensuring reliability. We're doing the engineering. We're making it better and better and better until we're sure that it's going to work for the final test. Once you're at that point where you can do it, where you have the reliability down, you rehearse with everyone at TPUSA and at UVU who is going to be involved. And you do this rehearsal at Fort Huachuca. You do some rehearsals there, you get everyone on the same page. You need that rehearsal. It needs to be in a secure location so no one sees you. That's why you need Fort Huachuca, because this is a pretty complicated operation that you need to get going. And like we've seen myself and Kelly doing this, when it's just two of us, only doing a fraction of the total operation, we need rehearsals. So that's why you need Fort Huachuca, is to do rehearsals with everyone to make sure everyone knows exactly what their job is in this operation. And this is a complicated operation because you're coordinating so many different people, so many moving parts in order to get this to actually work. When you think about it just in a speculative sense, you might not realize how many steps are involved in actually getting this to work. You only realize that once you actually take your theory out into the field, out into a real remote random field in the middle of nowhere. That's when you learn how complicated it is. That's when you learn why you need Fort Huachuca. So on the day of, this is your timeline of events. At about 4 to 5 a.m. in the morning, Charlie Kirk is suited up. You have the prosthetic applied. You have most of the gas solenoids. You have the battery, all the stuff applied to him at about 4 or 5 a.m. in the morning at his house before he leaves. That's the best place to do it. And then once he gets to Utah, he has his interview with the entrepreneur guy. And after that, he has a costume change. He has a clothing change. And during that clothing change, you're probably going to do prop load. You're going to put your CO2 gas canisters on him. And you're also going to put the Freedom shirt on and all this other stuff on him. But that'll take like 4 to 5 minutes to do. After the interview and with the entrepreneur guy, you're going to complete, I just did that part. Okay. So the white shirt that he has is the Forest Sun Defender shirt here. You're going to use this shirt because it reflects sunlight. This is the exact shirt that he had on. It's ordered through Graphic Goat as a sample order. We have our Graphic Goat logo right right here. I think you can see it.
Yep, so you can see that. Yep, you guys can see that logo on the back of the shirt, and we can also see that in the back or on Charlie's back on the close-up pictures from 9/10.
We also have the logo right here on this side of the shirt. I'm so thin, it's so hard.
There you go.
We also have the double seam down the side that we also observe on Charlie Kirk. You see that double seam right there. So this is the exact shirt. It is specifically designed to reflect sunlight and cool. The reason you need to keep it cool is because blood, once you take it out of the cooler, it starts coagulating. So you need protection from that heat from the sun. That's why you have the Forest Sun Defender shirt. You also want white shirt because that makes the blood show up better. In every single tutorial you have on these blood squib setups, they always, always, always use the white shirt because that's just the best way to show the blood.
I just figured out I could do that right now. Someone was like, you should widen Jordan's screen. And I was like, I would if I knew how to do it. And then I was like, wait, what's this do? And it works.
I'll produce for you next time, Jesse. I got
Yeah.
you.
Dude, all I do, I know how to talk, and that's it, man. By the way, the people in the chat, they're like, Jesse, shut up. I'm like, I haven't talked in 15 minutes, man. Why are you saying shut up, Jesse? But anyway, here, I'll make you big. I'll make you big right now.
Okay. I'll show the shirt again then, since you can see it better now. So this is the shirt. I also have one printed. So this was ordered as a sample order through Graphic Goat. I say sample order because the only time they actually give you their logo on the back is if it's a sample order. That means that you did not ask for text. I can't see it, but I think it's on. When you ask for a shirt from this custom print house without asking for custom text, that's the only time they will give you their logo on the back. But we observe the logo on the back, which tells us that TPUSA, they printed the freedom text themselves, which is kind of odd, but that's what happened. Because when you order it through Graphic Goat with the text printed by Graphic Goat, they do not put their logo on the back. So it's like, what the heck? And I had to find that out the hard way. So they had the freedom text applied independently. But anyway, when we have in our sequence here, the last thing we do is we load the blood from the cooler. The blood is going to be in a cooler with ice to keep it from coagulating. The last thing we're going to do is we're going to take the blood out and load it into the blood bladder, which is going to be in a little baggie, kind of like this, I guess, on his stomach. And we saw that earlier in the belly bulge photo. But you want to do that at the very last point, because as soon as you do that, the clock starts, the time elapsed clock starts, and it's going to start coagulating as soon as it's out of that ice. So you got to go. As soon as you do that, that's the last thing you do in the van before he gets out of the van. So once he is ready to get out of the van, you do blood load during the car ride to the UVU campus. That's when the clock starts. And then Mikey McCoy is going to energize his backpack, and the mission controller, which in my case is Kelly, she would then remote connect to the laptop in that backpack. And then around the same time, the sniper enters position alpha, which is sort of at the base of the Losey Center building, just kind of hanging around. At that same time, Charlie Kirk enters the courtyard. And then the count begins after a go, no go poll to make sure everyone's ready and everyone did all their steps. And then we have, once all stations are go, the sniper is commanded into position Bravo by the roof entrance. And then at around T-3 minutes or so, the sniper is requested into position Charlie, which is behind the short wall, but he declines because people are watching him. If you're standing by that short wall, preparing to jump it or go around the fence or whatever onto the actual roof, you have to watch this side, you have to watch that side to make sure that nobody is watching you, because it's going to take you a few minutes to get to the actual sniper position and take your shot. So if people are watching you and they see you do this, they're going to be very suspicious and they're going to call someone over and you're going to be busted before 3 minutes are up. So you got to do it when no one is watching you. So if you get a request from mission control, please go into that position, but people are watching you, you have to decline that request and wait until those people are gone and you can sneak over there without eyes. So I think that did happen. They did have to delay for a short time. So then I need to use my cursor here. First, okay, so the first T0, in my opinion, and we can go over this later when we go over the UVU review video footage. In my opinion, the first T0, or the first line he was supposed to get shot at, was Jesus Christ is Lord. I think that was supposed to be his final last words. But that T0 was rejected because the sniper declined because people were watching the sniper. I don't have direct evidence of that, but I'm inferring that because that is by far the most sensitive part of the operation. Like, anyone can screw it up by just happening to be in the wrong spot watching that sniper trying to get into position. That is the most sensitive aspect of the operation, because everyone else can just stand around, twiddle their thumbs. but he has to move into a very suspicious position without being seen. So
Hey,
a few minutes
Jordan,
later, the sniper,
Wade.
yeah.
Oh, sorry about that. Wade is one of our guys, and he's got great takes. He wanted to throw this out there, and I'm curious about this as well. So I'll just throw this out there. I don't know if you know what he's referencing, but if not, it's no big deal.
From brain, I'm not qualified to talk about brain swelling. I don't know. So I'm not qualified to answer that. But what I've heard is that the blood coagulation is not consistent with coming from a living host. Kelly, would you agree?
That's my understanding. And I think that would be too quickly I think that would be too quickly to experience coagulation in that circumstance.
Yeah, swelling doesn't happen in 0.2 seconds, I don't think. All right, so a few minutes later, the people leave at the sniper's position, and so he accepts the request, and he's able to move into position Charlie, right behind that short wall for rifle assembly. Once the hold is released, Charlie Kirk is told that the rear squib may fail due to coagulation, but he approves anyway. And once we go into the UVU review video, I'll show you exactly where I think that's happening with Dan Flood there. Later, Harpo gives the command to enter the auto sequence at about T-minus 10 seconds. And then at about T-minus 3 seconds, Dan Flood gives the hand signal, which we previously defined as a anti-Semitic hand signal, followed by a few others like Cutler. Then at T-minus 2 seconds, the transmitter is energized inside of Mikey McCoy's backpack in order to talk to the rifle. This blocks Wi-Fi, so that's why we have some live streams cut out, because we have such signal congestion in that area, all those phones. And so when you turn on that transmitter, especially if you have a repeater backpack halfway between Charlie and Losey Center, you're gonna jam all the Wi-Fi. So that's why the live stream's all cut out. After that, there's probably a repeater somewhere in the crowd, which is just another backpack, can be any color, shape, size. That's just holding another DMX transmitter and DMX receiver and DMX transmitter in order to sort of actually multiply the range of the system, since it cuts out right at about 140 yards, which is not ideal. At T0, we have the activation of everything. So that's where my notes cut off. So let me try to explain what I think happened. Kelly, can you say something while I take off my suit?
Sure, absolutely. Well, we appreciate so much everyone in the chat. They are very much engaged. Jordan, a lot of folks are very impressed with your delivery and your attention to detail. So thank you so much for that. And you guys, whether you believe it or not, we certainly appreciate you listening. I know that it's really, really hard for some folks to imagine that Charlie could be in on it. But I always say, try to check your preconceived notions of Charlie or TPUSA at the door. Open your mind to just looking at this objectively. It's really important to just try to look at this objectively, because the reality is you didn't know him as a person. That's just the facts.
And there's plenty of reasons that he might have done this that would be at least
that any of us would have. Yeah, absolutely.
We have to think about
none of
why
us
would
are
Charlie
saying that
Kirk...
this was something to hoodwink or be malicious. So, I mean, it's just there are plenty of good possibilities.
This is actually, this is a good idea. I'll stop and do some super chats, and I think a lot of them are going to be for you guys also. Okay, so let me run through. Oops, I already did that one. So I think this is where we left off. So how did Charlie fake the initial instantaneous forward head motion? How did Charlie fake the hydraulic ripple and tissue expansion of his face? Okay, I think we kind of just went over that, but also the initial. Go ahead.
Okay, so the initial forward head motion, I think that's a TENS unit, TENS. That is an electric shock that automatically tenses your muscles. I've not demonstrated that yet because it's not dangerous to do, or it's not safe to do alone. but hopefully we'll be able to do that soon and demonstrate that electrical shock, not electrocution, not lethal, but enough. It's basically a taser. I think that was also involved in order to cause that instantaneous motion.
Yeah, and
But
I was just gonna say oh, sorry, I was just gonna say on the very first motion that he made was like, because I did a video where I got that side angle sent to me by someone who was in Utah who knew a guy who actually took the video, and from there it was like that was when everybody was hypothesizing that he was shot from behind, and that video I put out the next day was just there was just whatever happened in front and made him go like this, like his head might have gone like this, but it was crystal clear in that video. Most devastating moment of my entire YouTube career, because it was pacing to I've never had a video pace like that, and then bam, 18 plus gone. It was like devastating for that video. But yeah, I mean, do you think like the thing that was under his shirt would have caused him to do that, right? You think?
What do you mean thing under his shirt?
Well, whatever caused his shirt to go up would have also pushed him backwards, right? Or
no, that would be completely separate. Probably under the pants somewhere, because that's where I'm putting all my gear. Probably just a TENS unit under his pants somewhere, and you have a couple pads coming up, maybe to his back.
Mm-hmm.
And really, the TENS unit could have just been for the reason to give him the signal to tense up, to create that muscle spasm.
Possible.
And I think this system has a context somewhere in Hollywood or theater where it's been engineered over many years in order to give you like the most realistic effects imaginable for like a gunshot wound. If you expect your actor to do all of the acting performance for your gunshot wound, you're probably not going to get as good results for your film or for your play if you actually are also delivering them an electric shock in order to make that involuntary. So I think there's a context that explains why you would have this technology in the first place of shocking them at the same time. It just makes the performance 1,000 times easier.
Yep, that makes perfect sense. And Debbie says, to this day, I have PTSD because of what happened, but wonderful Mikey and Blake, they're just fine. CK is in New Zealand near Valhalla. The FBI office cash open there. I saw that TikTok as well. Thank you, Jesse, for bringing this to us. I definitely wonder if the truth will ever come out. Me too. You're welcome. But this is one of those ones I'm very skeptical that anybody will ever get a definitive answer, most likely. What do you guys think?
As to where he is?
No, just in general, like if there's ever going to be a moment where it's like, I knew it, we were right, or we were wrong, like something like definitive.
I think we'll get there.
You do?
We'll get there.
Man, I hope you're right. I hope you're right.
Yeah.
I think so too. We're never going to see him.
2025, in 2150, 100 years from now, this is not going to just be another conspiracy theory. This is going to be solved. It's not going to be just another one of those conspiracy theories that never took flight. We're going to solve this.
You have anything to add, Kelly? Because ChatGPT can tell me it's not real.
I don't think we're going to actually see him. Like he's not going to come waltzing back into, the new ballroom, right? But we'll figure it out. I think enough to the point that I think we can be satisfied.
Yep. Stephanie says, plot twist, Charlie's the one occupying the island, or he's at Mar-a-Lago living his best life, all healed up and with new look after plastic surgery. Yeah. Hey, Palm Beach Pete and Palm Beach Charlie or whatever. Blessings from what's up, man? Excellent. How are you, dude? Blessings Belfast, Gabrielle, wonderful family from a grandfather. Thank you so much, my dude. Blake, no one's afraid, my man. Okay. If you cancel 10 minutes before a debate that we planned for 2 months and then tell me that your family was going to cut you out of the will if you didn't cancel, and then you do another live stream the next night like that, you disqualified yourself, dude. We're not doing it. Muslim foes, thank you very much. Charlie wanted to be remembered for his faith, not for faking his death, traumatizing the world, and leaving his children a lifetime of morbid trade. So I'm just going to assume that people have not watched my series, and so you wouldn't have seen at the very least, just as a baseline, the video of Charlie telling a crowd that he was target number 2 in the Jack Smith investigation, and they were actively pushing towards putting him in prison. So just on the very first thing of like why he would have done it without even getting into all the other stuff, like he was, if Trump would have lost the election, he was going to prison. Like that is something that was going to happen. But
I have something to add to that.
Please.
If you're saying he wanted to be remembered for his faith, I think the original plan, and I'll show you why here in a minute when we have time to go to the UVU review video to break down all of the coordination behind the scenes. But I think the initial go command when he was supposed to get shot was Jesus Christ is Lord. I don't think Kelly agrees, but that's my opinion. I think it was supposed to be Jesus Christ is Lord, boom. I think that's what he wanted to be remembered for.
And I agree with I think that's exactly what he wanted to be remembered for. And I think that there, of course, well, I guess let me reread that. If now that I'm rereading it, I think if you might be saying you're aligned with the theory, but what you're saying is we shouldn't be putting this out if we're on board with Charlie, then I don't necessarily disagree. I mean, the entire reason I did this is because once I figured that when I thought I was right, I was looking around and I was like, oh my, it was more about getting other people to see it. It didn't work, but if it's,
I think it is working.
Well, it might be, yeah. But in terms of Charlie, like, of course, he had no intention of anybody figuring out that it's not real, obviously, and neither did any of the USA people.
I think they're raising the moral objection, the moral issue with faking your death.
For sure.
Which I understand.
Yep. And then Truman says, if Erica knows Charlie's alive, don't you think that Charlie would advise her not to act the way she's been acting? Sure, yes. But I think that at the very beginning, when they thought they were pulling it off, they were just doing their thing and everything was going great. But by the time, here's the thing, like everyone was giving, or at least I was giving a lot of leeway to her, where I was like, when I thought he was, murdered, I'm not going to attack his wife, even though inside of myself, I was like, I can't, like, I don't know what it is about her, but she's unwatchable. But like, by the time everybody starts actually saying what they're feeling, it's already been done. She's already come out to fireworks. She's already done all this stuff. She's like completely not cried. She's done the podcast with Mikey McCoy and Andrew Colvett and Blake Neff. And they're like, oh, Charlie, everybody's got a piece of Charlie inside of them. La, 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 la. Not one of them cries ever. I don't even interview people that much, but at least 3 times when I've been on someone else's show or having someone on my show and something about like a death of a loved one has come up and they cry every time, every single time. They can't get through it without crying. None of them have showed that. It's like, I think the die was already cast.
Personally. Or at least they freeze up. And get stuck.
Yep.
I'm going to put out a video. Now this is going to push me to put out the video tomorrow, but there's something that I want that no one has addressed yet. And there have now been a few incidents that I think it is time that I release this video before the event happens. So, okay, I'll just tease that. So you guys keep a lookout. I'm gonna release it tomorrow, but dealing specifically with Erica. But beyond that, I think in terms of being able to continue on TPUSA, it would have been too obvious if TPUSA would have just continued on its old regular track, and there not have been any sort of hiccups. It would have looked too much like Charlie was just pulling the strings from behind the scenes. They needed to have some bumps in the road. And, unfortunately, like Erica had to just kind of like deal with it,
Can I show everybody something?
In my opinion.
Here's TPUSA's current website that lists their board of directors.
He's still on there.
Wait, who's that? That's the active board of directors. And legally, you have to disclose a 501c3, like who's on the board. I'm just saying, could be nothing or could not be nothing. You know what I mean? Still there, dude.
Yeah, that is a functional site. Like that has real purpose. That's not just for advertising.
Yeah.
That has to be updated.
Candace never confirmed or denied the Kirk kids. That's true. If they fake it, they're lying. Keep it going. Fact. It takes 20 minutes for blood to coagulate for centrifugation. I only know what centrifuges mean in so much as we're enriching uranium for nuclear weapons. So I know, but I don't know what it means as it relates to blood. Like unless you're spinning it for
and that's interesting because that's about how long it took. 20 minutes.
Brain edema can result from CNS flow or blood or both. Blood loss would cause drop in high cerebral perfusion. Blood loss, CNS, ICP can be secondary to hypoxia. Not fast, no brain swelling. For your note, thank you very much, Jen. Thank you. Let's just say Charlie is still alive and in witness protection somewhere. What kind of life is that? That would just be another kind of death for him. That's no. Let me take that. So the reason why witness protection is hell on earth for most people is because they don't get to take their money with them, and none of them have money because they were criminals, and so their money was stripped. If you are a billionaire or worth $200 million and you're in witness protection, this is a very, very, very different thing, especially if the president of the United States and his entire inner circle and your entire inner circle are all aware of where you are, and you can afford to say fly people in on private jets, fly people out on helicopters, whatever, and you're interacting with people through the screen. Like that would be very different for Charlie if that is in fact what's going on.
I would like to add something there, though. A lot of people take issue with that because he was a man with a mission. Everything he did was for his mission, for like his whole life's goal. Wow, now I'm big. His whole purpose was TPUSA and these political objectives. So people take issue with that because you've stripped that away. What is your life goal now? You have no purpose in life anymore. But the rebuttal to that is you have to think about Charlie Kirk as an actor playing the role of Charlie Kirk, not as the character Charlie Kirk. So maybe the actor might want to go back to basketball because that's what he was like before he took on the TPUSA role. Maybe the actor Charlie Kirk has other interests that he might be exploring now. So you have to consider that as well.
They're also doing a lot of like really big stuff that Dank's kind of uncovered with the geofencing and all of that. I mean, TPUSA is involved in some serious stuff in addition to the fact that TPUSA has grown exponentially. People think that since this happened, that TPUSA is falling apart. And it's like, so they haven't looked at the numbers. Like it's the exact opposite of that. Like they are globally spreading everywhere. And
with the help of all of the Republican governors, right? They are given the golden ticket into numerous states throughout the country and then into the high schools all over the place. So including in Texas, I had done a piece back in December when they had a big dog and pony show here. And I thought, sure enough, this is going to be a way for them to cycle money, essentially launder money, turn money around, because our Lieutenant Governor, Dan Patrick, had promised $1 million of campaign finance money that he was going to pledge to TPUSA. And when they announced that TPUSA would be allowed to be in all schools, high schools in Texas, well, then what do you know? That money turned around and ended right back up in the midterm elections. So via TPUSA, as they endorsed candidates here in these really important elections.
Dan Patrick he's in Texas, huh?
Mm-hmm. He's our lieutenant governor.
Dan Patrick from ESPN. That's crazy. I met him one time in person.
Yeah.
He's super tall. Dude. He's crazy tall.
Yep.
Anywho, sorry. Cammie, thank you very much. Please hit the like, and everybody go subscribe to their channels. The links are in the description, along with link to my playlist that I did about this too. Candace will solve this. Listen, on my side, Candace did solve this. That's how I figured all this stuff out in terms of their behavior. That's the thing about like Blake's theory, Candace's theory, all of that. It's like we agree on basically everything except the conclusion on my side anyway. It's like, why were they all doing this? Is it because they were whacking him out or because they were helping him do this? I mean, it's essentially the only place that we divert. That's why when people get all butthurt, I'm like when people get like really, really angry before they even like listen to anything I say, I'm like, you guys understand? We literally agree on like, what do you think happened? They're all, we think that this. I'm like, I agree. They're like, this. I'm like, I agree. And they're like, well, so what? I'm like, only thing we disagree on is why they did this. That's it. You know, so I never understood why people get so mad. But Mr. Soldier, thank you. It was a Freemason stage psyop. Cash Patel mentioned that Tyler Robinson was arrested after 33 hours, which is a Freemason 33-degree signature. Yeah, that's one of those things I am woefully under read up on, is the Freemason stuff. My investigator sends me stuff on that all the time, and it feels like a gigantic mountain that I am yet to do a good job climbing. And what just happened? I lost my spot. Oh, there we go. The Fuzzy Balls, what's up, man? Thank you. There was a $40 million life insurance payout. That's a lot of incentive to fake his death. No way it's coincidence. See, the thing is that I did do a piece on is how the life insurance policy was actually documented, and it was they created an entity that's only purpose was to be the holder of Charlie Kirk's life insurance policy, which was not uncommon, apparently, for tax reasons. And also because with 501c3s that have a lot of money going through, there's always the optics of how much money is being paid out to the executives. And so if they have some gigantic life insurance policy, that would basically be seen as income to the CEO, whatever the premiums are. And so, but that LLC that was holding the life insurance policy, it lapsed. Like they didn't pay like a $600 or $700 bill
Premium.
Premium. And so it went into default status. I don't know. I've had a bunch of LLCs have that happen, and then you have to like pay it back to get it back up to speed. And but it was weird. I don't remember. It's one of those things that I covered 4 or 5 months ago. I don't remember the exact details. But if anybody wants to look at that, look up Erica Kirk life insurance policy on my thing, and I think I'm pretty sure the thumbnail says this gets dark or something like that. Do you guys have anything on the life insurance you want to add?
I mean, just that essentially it would have been, one of Erica's, in theory, first orders of business, or I mean, really probably their accountant or I'm sure someone was supposed to be taking care of the payment, but they just dropped the ball. I've looked into it a bit. Oh, also, what we believe is that one of the board members is actually with the company that had the policy. So, I mean, that's a whole other, I don't know if that's a conflict of interest, but I mean, it's all this nepotism. I don't know. It's all, you scratch my back, I'm going to make money off of it. It's just gross.
There's a lot of that. Have you guys covered any of the Snake Eyes movie stuff? Like where the connections between the movie Snake Eyes and the day of?
I've looked at it. I haven't done any stories about it, but I mean, keeping up with all of the tentacles of all of this stuff, it really does start to make you think like, oh my gosh, am I part of the Sims? Like, am I in a game? Yeah. A ripple in the matrix.
That's exactly what I thought when I first saw it, because it's unexplained. It at first glance seems unexplainable, because I saw it very early on. It's like, okay, wait. So a guy named Charles Kirkland gets assassinated, and he gets shot in the neck at the exact spot where Charlie did. It's at an event at a casino owned by Trump. And the event takes place on September 10th. The guy who's in the boxing ring who throws the event the distraction is named Tyler the Executioner. There's tons of more stuff where you're like, this is impossible, until I realized that this would have been that's a kind of intelligence thing that they'll like build a thing around. Like if they're going to do it this day, then they build it around. And it turns out that Stacey Sheridan, also an Inner Circle TPUSA person, co-founded the Gary Sinise Foundation. Gary Sinise is the supporting act, like he's Nicolas Cage's supporting actor in that movie. And I was like, oh, there it is. Okay. You know, it seems like quite the coincidence.
I did watch the film, and I was sort of on the fence on whether or not I thought it was a coincidence or not. I definitely don't think that it was like 25 years ago they planned this out. I don't think that at all.
No, not at all.
If we're going with the theory that someone at whatever agency watched this movie and they wanted to plan it around that, I can get on board with that.
Yeah, that's what I think happened. And then I think someone pillow talked, and that's how it got out, you know. Jennifer, thank you very much. Blood can coagulate instantly inside the vessels. Outside the body blood is exposed to extreme heat and energy of a high voltage electric shock. Cool.
That doesn't explain the shirt behavior.
Jordan, this one's for you. Jordan, are you willing to revisit the analysis of the necklace being subject to a 1D force vector versus a 2D force vector? You are correct. It was a 1D force vector, but not via the catalyst you presume. I will DM you.
A two-dimensional. So one-dimensional is like what is that? Okay, so like a line versus two dimensions. So like you can say that it's the nozzle that I have, it can be sort of like arc shaped, or it can be, I'm just like speaking in very general terms, like the entire necklace goes up and back in one linear direction. Like, could it be like a nozzle where it's kind of more of an arc coming out? Sure. I think that's what they're asking, but I'll look for the DM.
Okay, let me, we'll do a couple more of these and then we'll go back and then we'll do some more later on. Charlie's in witness protection, in my opinion. Thank you very much. I think I probably agree with that. Michael, thank you for the super chat. Good sir. Possibly he faked it to hide from the blue and white team after coming out against them, calling for Trump to be put out of the Epstein files. And he didn't know Erica was such a horrible actress until after the Utah gig. LOL. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I agree with a lot of this. Yeah. And when it first all came together for me, it was like the part that was such this massive epiphany for me was how he made two assumptions that cooked them. And one was that they assumed that Erica was going to be able to pull off the grieving widow, which she was not. And also that having Candace on the outside of this thing, because I believe she was on the outside because of her status with a lot of people at TPUSA, that she would accept the mainstream narrative. And that was a fucking massive oversight that blew up in their face. I've entertained that she, like, you know, oh, well, what if she is in on it and that she's serving some purpose, whatever. And I can't get there. She's gone too hard now to where I think that she would be on the inside. I mean, you know, I don't know anything for certain, but what do you guys think about that?
I think that when she had the secret meeting with Erica behind closed doors, I think she might have gotten a phone call from Charlie.
Possibly. But then
she was so happy. When she came out of that meeting, she was so happy.
She did look very happy. I will layer on that in the event that she is on the inside of this thing, then that would almost certainly, in my opinion, mean that one of the reasons Charlie did this is to break the entire relationship with those guys over there. And it would be worth it to have him smash Erica into the ground to, you know, make it seem as though there's no chance that there's any connection there. Maybe. I don't know. I mean, I feel like I've thought about all this stuff in every direction or whatever. But okay, one more and then we're gonna go back. I use Hello Mellow Banana. What's up, dude? Thank you. I use tense on my neck traps, and it causes me to tense like what Charlie did. My neck even looks like it widens dramatically.
Very cool.
Cool, man.
Yep.
All right. I'm going to pass it
Jordan,
over.
Today I was looking at the TENS machines on Amazon even, and I was thinking about, because I was even thinking, in fact, regarding the neck spot, because, you know, there's one of those photos, and I personally think that some of those photos, professional looking photos that we've seen, may have potentially been altered because it was so long after the fact that we saw them finally come out. That's me personally. But anyway, there was a spot here that looked like a band. What?
You
I
see
was
this?
sorry. I was reacting to the comment. I wasn't reacting
I'm
to
like,
you, Kelly.
I see
Smashing
you guys
Erica into the
both
ground. It's
reacting,
like,
and I'm over here
yeah.
talking about a tens machine.
Reported
So
for inciting, but literally, I don't think I could be any more clear on my stance on that. I have never, ever supported anything related to, as a matter of fact, I couldn't stand any more firmly against any kind of political violence under any circumstances. But thank you for your contribution. I can't tell if you're serious or not, but
I don't think he was inciting violence.
yeah, no. Anyway,
Kelly, sorry, what were you saying?
that's okay. I was just thinking about the location of the tens machine and the there in some of those photos. There's a spot that looked like almost like a bandage or something, and just the potential that maybe one of the, what do you call them, the pads or something, was in fact put there. Potentially. Now his shirt, for the most part, like, I mean, as you can see where you're wearing the exact shirt right now, and it only barely peeked out. I mean, you would only barely be able to see it in that photo that I'm thinking of. And it was just by chance. But anyway, that the tens machine could have been potentially worn and caused some of that reaction. That's all.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I have to respond to this. You're laughing at implying Erica wanted to kill her husband, and you just threatened her by saying you wanted. You understand that the context of this entire stream is that Charlie's not dead, right? That Erica is in on this with Charlie, and they planned for him to fake that he's dead. Okay, not to be a dick, but like, are you fucking serious? Grow up, idiot. Listen, continue, you guys. Sorry. I mean, there's like a level of dumb that I can't really let slide. Like, that's just like too dumb.
I think maybe they misheard what you said. Maybe they thought you were inciting violence, but I don't think that was what you intended.
I mean, the title of the entire stream is how they really faked it. It's like, okay, anyway, you guys take it away.
I think it was something you said about Candace and Erica or something. But anyway, so this is the microphone that Charlie wore. This is the magnet on the back of it, and this is the magnet off. Would I be able to go full screen again?
Absolutely.
So I don't have to like squish. Thank you so much. All right, so this is the microphone, the Rode Mic Pro, I think it was, and this is the magnet. So I'm going to put it on now. This is where the actual microphone is, right there. That's the microphone diaphragm. So I'm going to put it on in about the exact same spot that it was on Charlie, like so. And now, if it sort of goes that way, it starts looking like a long sliver. If it goes that way, it looks more like a rectangle. I can also get the D or the F for freedom to disappear if I do it right, like that. So that's how we get the F for freedom to disappear, like we see in some of the footage during the event. So those are some of the anomalies there. But what you have to understand is that the microphone is actually pretty huge under the shirt. So that explains a lot of the weird creases. So when we get down to T0, back to the original sequence here, we have activation of everything. The first thing that happens is we turn on the transmitter so that Mikey McCoy's backpack can talk to the rifle actuator. So the first thing that happens is the rifle goes off, explosion in the barrel or in the action or whatever. The bolt starts coming down, and then we activate one of these over here. I think I can. We activate one of these, or actually, I think either 2 or 3 of these. This right here is a CO2 cartridge, holds about 800 psi, and this is your solenoid right here that turns it on. You have a plug that goes right there. You have 2 to 3 of these taped to his body, and those are powered by something that looks like this right here. This is your relay right here. This is your kill switch right here. And this is, if I can remember where I put it, this is your sump pump that goes inside the blood bladder in order to pump the blood out. So When this thing activates, the PSI or the gas comes out of the tube, out of here, and into the pendant right there. And then that shoots the pendant up, starting at the D for freedom, going up like this into the neck. And that allows you to cut the prosthetic. And I believe you also have a very thin hose going around the neck, blowing out a plug. I think it starts, it's kind of like this, or no, I forget exactly the way it goes, but I think it's something like this. And it blows out a plug, and that's why you see it flip around like super fast. I do not believe that the best explanation for the necklace behavior is that it's the necklace. We definitely do have a necklace on, and that's what we see in most of the photos. But in the video, I do not believe we are observing the necklace flying back. What we're actually observing is a very, very thin hose. What I've been using so far is this hose, but this is too thick. But I did order a much thinner hose that I think will work even better because it does not look like a necklace in the video, the thing that's actually moving. I think that is a pressurized hose, and that's how it's moving the way it moves. So that activates to blow out the plug in the prosthetic. This activates in order to hide the plug blowing out. And we also have another squib in the back that blows out, but it does not blow blood, possibly because it coagulated. It blows air, but not blood. The reason we do that is we need an exit wound because it's a 30-06 rifle going into the neck. Of course, there's going to be an exit wound. So we need the exit wound. So we had the air go, but the blood failed for some reason, possibly because of coagulation or some other maintenance issue. So that's what I think happened on the body. I think we also had a TENS unit going off in order to help the performance. And then, but that's mostly performed the hands up here, and then the knees close. And we also have the rifle shot going off into the van or into a pond, into a lake right behind the Hall of Flags. The audio analysis seems to put it into the van, but if that's off, if that's wrong, I think it can also go into the lake, which makes a lot more sense. But like 10 seconds right before the shot, the van door goes up, then the shot, and then immediately after the shot, the van door immediately starts going back down. So that's pretty suspicious to me. We think that there's a gel block inside of there, and that's where the bullet went. But that's what I think happened on his body. And yeah, so we have the CO2 pendant gun shooting the pendant up in order to disguise this area during the opening of the neck prosthetic. Then we have a plug blowout, and that hose sort of blows around. And we have the back of the shirt puff out for the rear neck wound squib, but it fails in the back. And then we also have a blood bladder pouch right here, which we can see in pretty much every photo and video, that pumps the blood up to the wound. And can we demonstrate all this? Yeah, I've demonstrated every step of it so far. I just haven't put it all together all at the same time yet. We got pretty close last week, or last Sunday, this past Sunday. Wasn't the best test. A few things weren't quite right. The blood wasn't very good, but we're getting really close. And that's what I think happened under the shirt.
What's up, dude? And Trigger Smart, I was just going to actually write this back, but I'll say the theory that, at least what I assume in terms of where everything went, is when all the security guys went diving over the table, they're doing something, like they're doing something around him. And I assume they're unhooking everything. And that's also why, you know, like when his arm comes up and is like, and everyone's like, dude, did you see his arm come up? I think that they had to, like, they needed him to hook his arm up to unwrap something from underneath his arm is my theory. But
now, Paramount Tactical said that they were applying a bandage and they needed to do that to get pressure on the bandage, but there was no bandage. Like, we know that. And
that's what he said. He said it was
anything medical. That's what Gary said, but we know that's not what happened because they've now, I guess, admitted that there was no bandage and there's no bandage. So it was.
So they're saying they lifted his arm up.
No, Gary from Paramount Tactical had a theory that said the reason they lifted his arm was basically to get a tourniquet around it so that his arm pressure could apply pressure to the tourniquet. But there's no tourniquet. So
they were going to,
because he does that in his demonstration, but it's not present. So that's not why.
Hey, any of you guys who are medical experts, like, where would you tourniquet a neck wound? Because I was thinking about that. I was thinking about that earlier. You just do it like above, you do it like underneath
this is my
it.
neck wound.
Yeah.
Now that's applying pressure because of my arm. That's
And
what
you just,
Gary from Paramount Tactical was saying. Yeah, but you would need the elbow, the arm, in order to get that pressure on it. But that's not what was happening because there's nothing there, and they even said that they only started applying medical stuff in the van, allegedly.
Yeah. And then what I have heard from people as well, and I see Melissa Smith in the chat saying you just apply pressure just inside of the wound. And that's what I had heard as well. So I don't know if there are multiple options, but what I had previously heard. But either way, they didn't do either thing. So
yeah.
Nope.
You don't tourniquet the neck. It's pressure and packing. Okay. That's what I had thought. I thought you packed the wound too. That's what I had heard. But again,
yep.
I don't know. I carry tourniquets with me,
but Jesse, would it be possible for Jordan to show an example of one of the like more recent tests? I mean, people, your
is there blood? Is there blood in it?
No.
I can do one where there's not.
Sure. Yeah, of course.
Kelly, do you have a screen share? I don't. I can, but I don't know if Kelly already has it set up.
Appreciate you, Brian.
I don't have it set up right now.
I can pull it up if I can get this to make this big.
Oops. Frank Turk claimed Charlie was his fourth son. Yet look at Frank's actions that day. When Charlie was shot, he crawled on the ground, put something in his pocket, then ran off. Yeah, I looked at like Frank was the one who actually his like body language actually sold it. Where I was like, hey, at least looks scared. But then I zoomed in on his face and I was like, that face doesn't look scared. But there's absolutely no question about that. You guys can ask Valhalla about that. I sent him my analytics on the video that I did the other night when I found that the security video was AI, and I showed it to him. He's like, that's literally the worst suppression I've ever seen ever on YouTube. I'm like, I told you, dude. Told you. It's just weird though. I like my channel goes through major like random spikes where I'll just be dead, flat for me. And then all of a sudden it'll go to the moon one month. And then it's bizarre. I can't make heads or tails of it. I just keep making content and I love it. But in terms of, is this what you guys want to show?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So I have blood coming out, but it's clear blood. It's just water. So it shouldn't trigger anything. But this is in my shower.
It's just liquid.
Where I'm going to do, it's just water. Yeah. I don't have the D for freedom on this exact test, but just imagine that the freedom is there. I used the spare shirt. But we're going to do this part in conjunction with the necklace flying out, in conjunction with the water coming out of the wound all at the same time. So here we go.
Well done.
So that's that neck wound there. And then we have, and this is the belly thing again. So this is the belly prosthetic that I've talked about before that would cover the blood bladder. And that's the blood bladder right there on my stomach as I do this out in the field. And this is the same thing on Charlie, which I believe is the blood bladder.
And let's remember that Jordan is entirely self-taught just from taking an online course just a few months ago. Wait, what?
What?
I just passed 7,000 followers. Thanks, Jesse.
Hey, my pleasure, man. Congratulations.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, Jordan is self-taught. He took, an online course just a few months ago at the end of December, and he's doing this on a shoestring budget. He's doing this by himself. He is taping the stuff onto himself before he goes out and does these live tests. He's in one part of the country. I'm in another part of the country, and I mean, all I'm doing is being mission control and, kind of encouraging him along the way. But really, I mean, it's quite impressive. And
Agree.
so, for people who are saying like, oh, well, look, you can see this wire or that wire. I mean, he's not working with a $10,000, $100,000 budget, let alone 10 people or 100 people around him, helping him. So I think it's very
The most
impressive.
important
totally
thing,
agree.
the most important thing about this testing campaign is this is the only one happening. We have a couple gun bros shooting rifles at stuff, finding out what doesn't work, and that's pretty much it. And you're one of them, and you found out a lot of things that don't work.
Yep.
But this one is finding out what does work. This works. And there's two things we can do. We can make assertions about stuff. We can speculate about stuff. We can ask questions and say, I think it's this. I think it's that. What if it's this? What if it's that? And then never test anything. But what we do is we make an assertion and then we go out to the field and try to demonstrate it. We try to prove it. That's the name of the show. That's how we tell the difference between conspiracy theories that can actually be true and conspiracy theories that cannot be true. Our courtroom is physics. That field is our courtroom. The judge is physics. If our theory cannot explain it, we're going to find out because we won't be able to demonstrate it. So when we go out into that courtroom, it tells us, is our hypothesis capable of explanatory power? Could it have actually happened? When we think about exploding microphone theory, it cannot have possibly happened. It breaks the laws of physics. If you think about cavitation theory explaining this happening, it cannot happen. It breaks the laws of physics. There are all these other theories out there that cannot possibly physically happen, that break the laws of physics, but this one doesn't. And the other cool thing about this theory is the necklace behavior, the shirt behavior is not an anomaly. It's a feature. When we reverse engineer things, we look for, when you engineer something in forward, you find a problem and then you find a solution to that problem. But in reverse engineering, you look at the final product and you have to figure out what was the problem. What problem prompted someone to add this feature? What problem is this solving? What problem is this solving? Why is the projectile on a necklace? Why do we have the back of the shirt puffing out? What problem does that solve? That's reverse engineering. The thing that distinguishes the fake death theory from all of the other theories is the shirt behavior is required. If there is no shirt behavior, if there is no necklace behavior, if the back of the shirt doesn't puff out, our theory is falsified. Our theory requires that. All of the other theories, they have to explain it away. The shirt behavior is a feature of our system. It is a feature of the faked death theory. None of the other theories can even explain it, but we can demonstrate it.
Yep. And that's, like I said, I hadn't focused on that stuff at all, but the behavior is like, that's the thing that I have always kind of used to evaluate what's what. And it's the exact same thing. It's the only explanation that explains all of it. All of their behavior is like, it's the only thing that makes any sense. And like a lot of times when I talk about this, people are, I don't they'll bring it up in different ways, but they're like, if you're wrong, you have to eat. I'm like, dude, if I'm wrong, I will happily eat it. I don't care. Like, I have no ego tied to like what happened here. This is what I'm saying seems most likely to me based on my interpretation. But like, I got no dog in this fight. I would like for Charlie to be alive and that his best friends did not all collaborate to murder him. I would prefer that, of course. But like, yeah, I don't know. Again, I don't understand how people get so bent out of shape. When everyone agrees, the official story makes no sense. Like, just doesn't make sense. Too many problems. And then so people look into this, that, the other. if it's wrong, it's wrong. But all of it seems very compelling on this side. There's plenty of things that have been in the fake death theory that I look at. I'm like, nah, I don't think that's right. You know what I mean? There's a million different things that are like around it. That doesn't mean you agree with all of it, but yeah.
Well, we're working with such limited information. We're working with the best that we have, and we're trying, we are trying. We're doing this from states away and with folks who are chronic liars, who've proven to be telling fibs for years and have a whole lot on the line. Okay, to the tune of hundreds of millions of dollars, and people's lives and reputations, right? And so there's a big incentive for to the highest levels of government.
Yep. And then also it's like,
the odds are stacked against us.
Yep. And if you look at what happened at the correspondence dinner, if people are like, I think it's fake, people are like, okay, it's like, you think it's fake? They're like, yeah, I think it's fake. And it's like, okay. And then the same exact people, I'd be like, well, I think the Charlie Kirk thing might be fake. And they're like, what? You're like, I mean, and then I'll be like, why do you think that why would they juke the White House correspondence thing? And I'm not saying that I think that necessarily. It's like, but you understand why they would do it, right? It's like, yeah, it would have a huge potential positive impact on, approval for the administration. And it's like, yeah. And what do you think the impact would be if Charlie Kirk got murdered and everybody accepted that it was a big group of leftists that did it? Like, what do you think the impact of that would be? You know what I mean? It's like, I don't understand how they could see that. And then they think that this is totally insane. You know what I mean?
Because of all the blood coming out.
I mean, dude, people have seen my live reaction when I saw that video the first time. I was like,
and the crazy thing is, every single you can find tutorial after tutorial after tutorial. Yeah. You can find 4-hour tutorials. You can find 1-hour tutorials. Tutorial after tutorial after tutorial, telling you exactly how to do the exact same neck wound we see on Charlie Kirk. The exact same one, over and over. In Hollywood, they do the exact same wound over and over and over again. But people see that out in real life, or in what's reported to be real life, and they cannot connect Hollywood to that because it feels too real, because it's too good. But once you see all of these tutorial after tutorial after tutorial, it's like, it doesn't mean as much anymore.
The first one that I saw, I still was miles from even entertaining the theory, but I will definitely acknowledge the first one. Like when I saw the one where they used the knife and slit his throat, I was like, whoa, that looks exactly like what happened. Like it looks like exactly. I still didn't think I just still didn't believe it yet, but I was caught off guard by how good that looked or just kind of how identical it looked. But yeah, I mean, I guess the thing that I find frustrating now is that they are trying to take the cameras out of the courtroom, because I think they had every intention of televising the Tyler Robinson. Sorry, that's an alarm telling me to take my trash cans out. I think they had every intention of televising that court case. And I think that they very much did not anticipate that people were going to be so on the case to where now they're like, hey, we can't televise this anymore. Like they've uncovered too many things, regardless of what side of the fence people land on in terms of what they're looking at. Everybody is attacking the official narrative. I think that they thought that they had given everyone a story with a bow on it, with the evidence that supported it, and it was just started unraveling piece by piece. It's like, oh, so 30 got 6, no exit wound. They're like, oh, okay. Tell him, Charlie had Superman bones, say that it was a miracle and there were people that would have been killed behind it. Run with it. Boom, done. And then that made it worse. And then it's like the text messages between Lance and Tyler Robinson. They're like, hang on, this guy referenced that he wrote on the bullets in the text messages. It's just like every single thing that people looked more and more and more suspicious. And I think that's why they're trying to, get the cameras out of the courtroom personally. But here, let's go through some of these super chats, because there's a bunch of them. Did you check your tick?
And then
I think that's for you, Jordan.
And once we do that, I do have check my tick. Did you
I
check
think
your
I think
TikTok?
that's TikTok, maybe.
I don't
Or
have
maybe
TikTok. Maybe they're talking to Kelly. I think Kelly does TikTok. But once we're done with the super chats,
Okay.
I want to show you the coordination, Jesse,
let's do that
of
now.
the UVU review video. You
Yeah,
want to
go
do it
ahead.
now?
Yeah, let's do that now, and then we'll do the super
Yes.
chats after that.
Because I know you had been very interested in that for a while, hearing about that from somebody else, but that fell through. But I think I can share it with you as well,
Yeah,
maybe
please.
in a more informed sense. I do have my screen share ready. So once you're able to, there we go.
This
Perfect.
is, you're not going to show him getting.
Nope, this is the video. I even have the media pool cut off so that I cannot access it. It is cut a couple frames right before the event, so you will not see anything.
Okay,
This
cool.
is the last frame. All right. And I just lost my spot. Let me go back to the very first event. I had my spot. Let me try to find my spot again. It's a long video. Okay, so this is the first event that we see that people call attention to. This is Brian Harple fiddling with something in his pocket. It's probably comm system. And then we have some stuff going on over here in Audio Land.
I've seen
And
that part with Farnsworth and that guy on the ground, because that guy on the ground who's seems to like be running the audio, he actually turns his head right at the moment that Charlie gets shot. It looks like he turns his head right before.
So right after Harpole does his thing, twists the dial on his transmitter, that's when maybe something happens over here. Now he's looking at Dan Flood, and there's a little bit of back and forth here. Now they're talking about something, and they're talking about something. These guys over here.
How many minutes is that right
stuff.
there? That exchange right there. How many minutes is that before the actual event? Ballpark.
This is a few minutes. A few minutes. And then he's looking at Terrell Farnsworth now, and he does this thing to his glasses. Maybe that's innocent. I don't know. But then he's looking at Terrell, and they're kind of talking to each other. We don't really know exactly what that was. I don't think it's conclusive.
That looked pretty intense. That looked pretty intentional to me. Like just the way he did it. It didn't look like he was fiddling with something. It looked like he was pointing at his glasses or something. But I mean, not conclusive. But.
Yeah, but it could be fully innocent. We don't know if it has anything to do with the faked assassination plot or if it's just normal stuff. We have no idea. But now he's apparently doing something with this lady. We don't really know what. And nothing terribly interesting here. This is while the Mormon guy is talking to Charlie. And Charlie, I'm not going to play it. Or I guess I could play it, but I'm not going to. He's talking about Mormons, and Charlie Kirk is giving his line, Jesus Christ is Lord, multiple times. And I think the reason we have a lot of people talking around this time is because they're talking about the sniper not being able to get into position, because it was supposed to go then. And now I think we're going to have some of the other stuff where now they're talking to each other again.
I have one random question because I'm going to forget to ask it unless I do it real quick, and then we can come back to it. What is your guys' thought on Nigel and Jordan? Probably is I'm asking, like, on Nigel, who did the analysis of the sound. I don't know if Kelly, if you've looked into that either, but like, Nigel, who did the sound analysis that I had on my show, who said that he could prove with the sound analysis that the bullet was shot into the trunk of the SUV. Have you looked at that at all?
Allgeist?
Yeah.
Allgeist.
Yeah. I don't know how to pronounce his last name.
Allgeist Nydream?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What did I say? I don't know what I said.
Yeah, I don't know who Nigel is, but I think you're talking about Allgeist. Yeah, I've had him on.
Yeah. Sorry, yeah.
I've been on Trigger Smart with him. Mm-hmm. I did the same analysis. I came to the same conclusion. And I can personally verify that he is a real working physicist who has published papers. And he comes to the conclusion using the crack thump method that the bullet had to go into the van. I've done the same conclusions. I even wrote software that does it for me in real time in multiple ways. And it puts the rifle shot into the van, not into Charlie Kirk. and it does place it on the Losi Center roof.
Nice.
I think Kelly thinks that the bullet went into the pond, and I think that's the more likely explanation as well, just tactically. But the math puts it there, at least for now. And Kelly.
Yeah, if anybody wants to
I-
watch that, it's on Trigger Smart. Apparently, I'll watch it afterwards. Trigger Smart had both you guys on at the same time. I didn't know that. I'll watch it.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
All three
I
of us.
just tend
We were all
to
three
think that
on.
it makes a little bit more sense for it to have, it was a safer move for it to have just gone overhead, since they had that Hall of Flags area cleared off and it could safely go into the pond. That's my personal opinion.
There's just so many people around that van. But at this timestamp here, we have Brian Harple going into his pocket here, fiddling with something. We don't really know what. And now he's going to look over here again. They're clapping. And now Dan Flood is talking to Charlie. I think they're discussing whether or not, this may not be true, but we have no other examples of Dan Flood ever talking to Charlie during an event like this. Like, why is the security guy coming directly up to Charlie? We don't really know. Kelly, would you agree that we don't have any other examples of this?
No examples that I can think of. In fact, he has in the past gotten Charlie's attention and been able to communicate with him from a distance, but not gone all the way up to him, whispered into his ear like that. That is very unusual.
Yeah, and this is only almost seconds before the event. So I think they're discussing the hold that they had. It was supposed to go at Jesus Christ is Lord, but they had to go into a hold. Charlie's probably like, well, what the heck happened? And Dan Flood is telling him what happened. I don't think I have audio share right now. Do I? Did the audio work?
I didn't hear any audio.
Okay, that's fine. But okay, so we're going to proceed. And they're still talking. He's hanging out. Now Hunter Kozak is up. So now they're
my buddy that I offered a fortune to take a lie detector test, he said no. I offered Hunter Kozak a lot of money to take a lie detector test. He said no.
Oh, okay. But here's the event where Hunter Kozak touches the microphone and then they get really antsy about it. But that happens at every event. That's perfectly normal. It's not an anomaly at all. Because they just don't want people touching their mic. It's not electrocution theory. Now Terrell is going to go talk to Charlie again. I think this is because they have some feedback in the system right now. And Charlie Kirk has a floor monitor by his feet there. And when the microphone is all the way at the edge of the table, it is getting feedback. It is causing a feedback loop. And so Charlie has to move it towards the center of the table. So it is further away from the monitor at his feet. So that's what he's going to do now. Now we have some action from Brian Hartful. He's looking at them again. And this is a little bit slow, but they're looking over here. We're getting close to the end here. Not a lot going on.
I'm trying to figure out where, like, the guy I was referencing is leaning on the fence. He's like just out of frame. I feel like he's over where what would be on the far left. I don't think that you can see him. He's a big dude and he's like leaning. Yeah, he would be right there. Exactly.
I think this is the last question there. And then what's interesting is he's going to duck his head.
Yep.
And I guess I can extend it if I just move it over here.
Yeah, that'll work as long as there's no sound and you can't see anything up Charlie at all.
I'm going to proceed forward. We're going to watch the audio guy duck his head right before the shot.
Right before.
We'll know the shot comes. We'll know the shot comes because Hunter Kozak will react almost instantaneously.
And he will do the same thing.
Jordan, do you want to, there you go. Right there. Philip Goldsberry puts his head down. Do you want to, with your mouse, direct people to see the person? If you go back just a couple of frames so they can see where he's actually putting his head down in anticipation, what appears to be anticipation of.
There you go.
It's very interesting.
Yeah. And I mean, like when you see the whole thing, it is at the exact, it's like a person who was going to like push the thing down to like detonate the.
There it goes.
It was instantaneously before.
At the exact moment, like you know, when they're trying to like, you know, TNT through a thing that they're doing a tunnel, you know, and they go just like at the exact moment. Yep, right there.
And then navigating very carefully, trying to find Mike. Oh, I think he's already out of frame here.
Look at Farnsworth reaction. Wait, I've never seen this before. Charlie just got shot right there, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That is.
He's almost smiling.
He's almost smiling.
I'm so emotional. He's almost smiling.
That's crazy. I actually have never watched that before. So he's like, "Hey guys, I'm gonna go get on the wall. I'm gonna go get on the wall and say he's dead.
Time to shoot my selfie."
Yeah, time to shoot my selfie. God help him. He's dead.
And I have to be really careful here. I don't think I can show exactly when the shot goes off, but this is the Mikey McCoy one as well.
And also right behind, that's Blake back there. And he may have had his phone in his hand. I think that's Blake Neff right there. Yeah.
Yeah. Or I don't know if that's Blake Neff, but I think that's all I can safely show.
Yeah, that's probably enough. I mean,
yeah.
Plenty suspicious for me. Here, let me do a few of these here. Okay, so this is everybody go subscribe to Jordan Kelly show. Links in the description. I sent you an email about the 3/4 about the electric theory using STEM. I use them every day. It looks simple, 10s unit. Keep up the great work. Awesome. Thank you. Kristen, thank you very much. Jesse, I lean more left than right, but I'm not far left. I feel like we are similar. I am probably very similar to you in many ways. I'm sure if you watch my content and enjoy it, I'd be friends with everyone I've ever met in person who is like, "Hey, I love your channel." Then we end up friends. We see the lies on both sides 100%. Thank you for your work. I enjoy it. Thank you very much. Trigger Smart, what's up, dude? There's a major flaw in the fake death theory. If he's alive, is he complacent in the TPUSA financials as well as the child touch Erica's past? On the financials, complacent or I would think he's involved.
Complicit, I think, is the word that he means.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Complicit.
Right. I think he was part of it.
There are many. Sorry, you go first, Jesse.
No, I was just going to say that, like, in how I structure this theory, it's like they knew they had Jack Smith's special counsel on them, and in the previous special counsel, all the people around Trump, they went to jail. Like, I mean, Manafort, all these people that played those roles, they went to prison. And TPUSA, like, if you look at the financials and how they were structuring these deals in terms of like, oh, here's this LLC and we're paying this one $1 million a year. It's like, who owns that? It's like insider. It's like, what about this one? Insider. So they were playing it fast and loose with the financials. And when Charlie says, we're going to order a Doe style audit and yada, 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 then he dies. Now, any kind of forthcoming investigation, they could just blame it on Charlie and all of them would be free from any kind of prosecution. So he'd essentially be sacrificing himself publicly so that none of his people ever, faced any kind of criminal prosecution. I think the likelihood that people were setting up those financial things and he did not know about it and he was uninvolved is unlikely, but there's no way to know for sure. Do you have something that you want to say about that, Kelly?
Just that there are numerous examples of the folks talking from especially Tyler Boyer, but also Andrew and I believe Mikey, just referencing how Charlie so closely watched every penny or every dollar that they spent. Some examples of him talking about, oh, we wanted a t-shirt gun to be able to shoot out t-shirts at events, but we had to run that by Charlie, that he watched every dollar we spent and signed off on it all. And so could they just be saying that after the fact? Maybe. But to imagine him being so smart that he was able to run all of these things, but not smart enough to pay any attention to the finances, I have a tough time with that.
Jordan, you have something?
And if I can respond to that too, what was the comment again?
It was if he's alive, is he complacent in or complicit in the TPUSA financials? And what about Erica's past stuff?
If Trigger Smart would like to discuss further, that would be terrific. We could even have him on Try and Prove It, not necessarily to present a specific theory, but I would love to talk to him more and have some more back and forth with a disagreeer. But I start with the physical evidence. We look at what physically happened to Charlie Kirk. What are some hypotheses to explain that? The only one that has explanatory power, that has demonstrability, is the CO2 pinning gun causing the D for Freedom to jump up to his ear. Exploding microphone theory does not work because it does not have line of sight to the wound. It is not at the origin of shirt deformation, which is down here. And it has a whole number of other things like no recoil, all kinds of problems. But anyway, we have to start with the physical evidence. If the physical evidence tells us that he was not shot, that it was not an exploding microphone, there was not any weapon system, we have to think what kind of system does explain it. Turns out the CO2 pinning gun explains it, and it can be demonstrated. So scientifically speaking, it must be the leading hypothesis because it is the only candidate explanation. Nothing else has demonstrated that it could have happened except for fake death theory. So that's where we have to start. And then we can start asking, why would he have done it? Why would he be behaving this way? But we have to start with the physical evidence.
It's so funny because I went the exact opposite route on that. Like I was like, what's the point? Like it's so crazy. But then it was, like I said, I went the exact opposite where I was like, what could possibly explain their behavior? And then it was like, okay, now let me take a look at the physical evidence. But anyway, that's you guys should do another show.
And I see this question a lot too. I'm Hockey Girl said, well, why would Charlie call for a Doge audit if he watched every dollar too? It is I've answered this question in the chat a couple of times. It's my belief that Doge audit or effort was a ruse. I find it very hard to believe that someone would announce a major auditing effort. I mean, who says, hey guys, I'm going to be looking at every, nook and cranny for how everyone's been spending their money. Why would they announce that? Why, Jordan?
I mean, I that's the whole precedent for Doge though. Elon did, right?
Yeah, but at that point, this gives people a reason to look back and say, oh, this like gives them something that we can point to, right? And say, well, maybe he pissed off somebody. To me, it like gave a motive that someone could hypothesize and spend weeks or months talking about. They never did it.
Or it indemnified everyone else.
The only precedent that has ever been set for a Doge, it was announced months in advance. So there is precedent for it. So I don't necessarily agree with that.
I don't know that it was announced months in advance. I mean, he got to the business right away and then he was gone. Elon was really only stuck around.
They campaigned on it, right? For months.
Well, then but then once he started, right? Once he was elected and inaugurated, then
Hey, that actually enters into another what I feel is a very central motive of this thing. Maybe not the like biggest, but definitely part of it that would have been involved is how this crime was used to enable the FBI to designate the left wing terror, like the left wing, Antifa and all them as terror groups, which opens all of the, and including it says straight up in the announcement that includes any persons or organizations that are contributing funding to those groups, which means that opens up all of the, all of their perceived enemies to the Patriot Act. They can go after Soros. They can go after any of these guys that they've been talking about. They're like, that do fund those. They're not even left wing. They're like make believe left wing groups that they use to destabilize, where they'll go and they'll have them go out in the street in LA and do the, flipping cars over blah, blah, blah. It's like those groups that are getting money in Minnesota also are funded by the same people who wanted to put Charlie and Trump in jail. And so they're like, hey, now we can, we control the power of the government now. And now we can use the Patriot Act on you guys to try to put you in prison. That's, if you understand a person's motivations, then you can back into what would have been important to them about a certain thing. And Trump is the most singularly money, status, vengeance. Like those are like, you know what I mean? It's like sex, money, status, vengeance. And it's like, there you go. So, that's how you'd motivate him to say yes.
You know what Erica's are? Spima.
What is it?
It's this is what Erica wants. You just said sex, money, power, vengeance. What Erica wants is she wants, I always get caught up on the S. It's not sex. It's
status.
What is it?
Is it status?
No, it's not status. No, it's not status. Sympathy. What
Sympathy.
Erica wants is sympathy, power, influence, money, and attention. Sympathy, power, influence, money, attention. Spima. That's what she wants. That's what drives her every action.
I always tell the story because I think it is the creepiest thing ever. I read a book called The Sociopath Next Door, and I read this literally like 15 years ago, but this one part stuck out so much, and I always tell it because it's so wild. So this woman who wrote this book has worked with sociopaths and psychopaths for 25 years, and she said that, and so she's a psychotherapist, and she said that every single sociopath, if you ask them, what is the emotion that you would desire most to elicit from people that you interact with, right? So like there's lots of different answers. Like for me, I would say I want them to like me. It's like anybody, like what? Yeah, I just want them to like me. And sociopaths all say they want the person they interact with to feel bad for them, to have sympathy for them. And I was like, that is fucking psycho, dude. Like I think that is like one of the most that is like a psychotic answer to me anyway. I don't know. It seems totally crazy to me. Okay, so Scotty Ellison says Candace can't accept that Charlie's unalive because if he isn't, she'll probably do it. She'll kill him or something. Yeah, as soon as she doesn't agree. Scotty, what's up, man? Great live, Jesse. Thank you for being here. I'm going to try to rip through these fast. Truman Show says, I sell insurance. If there isn't a term or a specific rider on the insurance on how he gets unalive, then she doesn't get the money. Interesting. We the people. Oh, what's up, man? He says, do you think Candace knows he's alive? Do you think it's all theater? We are seeing her and TPUSA cover there. I mean, we've covered that, and I might even just call it impossible to know, because Candace, in my opinion, is the exact opposite of these other people. Where if she wanted to cloak what she's doing, she would be able to, and no one would fucking know. You would not be able to tell with her. That's very rare. Only one of those people, though. Kathleen, welcome to the membership. Jennifer, what's up? This is from, when is this from? This is from, oh my God, we're way behind. This is 50 minutes ago. Okay, she says, I wasn't talking about Charlie Jordan. I was addressing your 1.2 second comment about the blood coagulation. Rumplegold, am I the only one who thinks Charlie never even had kids? You think so too, Kelly?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yep.
So you think that those kids are like Cabot Phillips or something?
I think they may just show up when needed for photo ops.
That would be wild.
I'm a real cynic.
The ages are really weird. They don't work.
Really? How old are they, supposedly?
Like 2 and 4, I think.
but there's like
Yeah.
photos of one of them that's like not that age, I think.
Dude,
Yeah,
if
it was
that's
around the
true,
time when they were trying to come up with the Fort Huachuca alibi, and I think she'd given Andrew Colvett a photo to pass along, and the boy was way bigger than the girl, and it just did not make sense for a 2-year-old or even a 3-year-old. It was very odd. So
one thing you guys didn't mention about the Fort Huachuca thing that I think is extremely relevant is, aside from the fact that it is a central place where they train intelligence operatives, it's also this. They also have filmed like 6 Hollywood movies on that base, like 6. It's like, I mean, which is like, oh, all right. So this is a place where they rehearse things, and then, you know what I mean?
and Erica had filmed something there
She had.
before.
Yeah.
And my question to everybody is, why do we need, everybody is so caught up with Fort Huachuca and Mitch Snow and all this stuff, but nobody's asking what were they talking about in this meeting? Why does everybody need to coordinate at this meeting the day before? If you want him dead, you just shoot him. That's what you do. It's really simple. Doesn't require a meeting at Fort Huachuca. So why do we need to meet there? It's because you're trying to, like you would say, you're trying to juke it. That's the only reason.
Yeah. Murdering
But
him
everyone
requires.
wants to just,
Sorry, go ahead.
but everyone wants to talk about Mitch Snow. But murdering him requires 1 bullet.
Yeah. Listen, I had to eat shit on Mitch Snow, dude, because like my initial take is I was like, no way, just because his the way he comes off was so like, I'm like, come on. But again, I would have bet against him even being a Green Beret, like, and then I would have been wrong. So I had to just be like, all right, you know, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't care if I'm wrong. I'm fucking wrong. I don't care. But on the Fort Huachuca thing, assuming that you know, that part's true, in addition to all of the evidence of coordination between all the TPUSA people, that's you literally just nailed my entire argument, aside from their behavior after. It's like killing him takes 1 person, 1 firearm, 1 bullet. Why you would never involve this many people? Like, that would never happen. And if you can prove that you have like 11 people from TPUSA or security involved, like that conversation is over. It's common sense. You would that would never happen if it was an actual homicide, in my opinion.
It's so obvious. Once you get to this side,
yes.
It is so obvious.
So obvious.
That, like, what people do is they look at this and say, oh, I see this suspicious thing. This person's in on it. That person's in on it. That person's in on it. All these people are in on it. Therefore, it was another cause of death. It's like, no. Therefore, the whole thing is staged, right?
I will say that once you get on the other side of the fence, it is like, it's painful how obvious it is. It's it's so fucking obvious. I laugh out loud at stuff, dude. The one when Milo, when he did the thing and he's like, I know for an incontrovertible fact that Charlie has not been buried. And it was 90 days after his death. And then that's when Erica did her press tour, like 5 days later. And she was like, can I just have this one thing? Can you just leave me alone about Charlie's body and where it is? We're going to build a memorial. It's like, dude, you fucking filmed yourself at your funeral with your hands on his hands like a WWE like package. Leave you alone about this one thing? Like, no one asked you to do this. You are the one who did this. And the fact that if they would have just ignored him saying that, no, I mean, I would have been like, maybe Milo doesn't even know. But the fact that they reacted the way that she did, and then 5 days later, she's on CBS, like, yes, I will comment on him not being buried. Leave us alone. We're going to build a memorial. It's like, oh, that's one of those times where it's like, a lot of times I feel like when people get attacked when they say stuff and they're like, oh, it must mean I'm over the target. Like, I think like 85% of the time, it's a stupid way to, like, you know, protect yourself from being wrong. But in this case, I'm like, and that is what it means right there. Like, because not my theory, Milo said it, but then them doing it was like, eesh. Anyway.
I've not, just for the record, I have not been buried yet. Kelly, have you been buried yet?
Never.
I've not been buried yet because I'm still alive. That's probably why Charlie's not been buried yet.
That is certainly not. And I also would never, under any circumstances, ever hurt myself ever. Also, I don't think these people would hurt me either, which is why I'm not worried about it, because they don't hurt people. They make believe.
That's right.
Matthew, thank you for the super chat. We already know the government and elite lie to us, so please explain the reason you feel the need to explain this. Explain that.
I think they're just agreeing.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Maybe this is a way for them to get a divorce. Possible. I mean, that they're, but unlikely. But because I think that he has been running TPUSA through her, but who knows? Loving the Scooby-Doo reference, banker demasked. That was that was 45 minutes ago. I'm sorry. Ariel, thank you for the super chat. Watch the link I sent. 45 was switched out for 47 in Butler. I will look for that. It's probably in my inbox. I will try to check that out. Welcome to the membership. Respect. Thank you. We put that up when that one came through. I'm broke. I'm sorry. You don't need Christy. I know you. We know each other. You don't need to send money. I appreciate your support always. Dr. Villa, thank you for the super sticker. Appreciate you guys. And Scott, this is very, very generous. Thank you very much, Scotty. Says standard procedure is to use cardioversion for correcting an abdominal rhythm. It's very safe, but it essentially stops the heart and theoretically looks and feels like death. ECG pads, shock, no injury would explain the initial reaction.
I'm not signing up for that. Nope. No thanks.
Oh, to test it?
I'm not signing up for that.
10's unit will be enough, to get you there.
No ego as long as someone doesn't cancel on you. It's not about canceling, dude. We talked after you canceled, we talked. Okay. You then lied to me, told me a massive story about you getting cut out of the will if you didn't retire from the Charlie Kirk case. And then the next day, we're streaming with another group. Okay. It has nothing to do with canceling or ego.
Dude, Blake, we already debated, you and me, and you couldn't do it. So.
And what's crazy, dude, it wouldn't even need to be in a debate. We agreed on 97, 98% of everything. It's just, I'm like, yeah, no, I think it means that they were doing this and you think they're doing that. That's it. That's all. There would never been any need for a debate. I was honestly platforming him to prove my point. Fuzzy Balls, thank you for the super chat. Americans suffer from cognitive dissonance. If they believe something for certain, it's nearly impossible, regardless of how much information contradicts their belief, to actually change their minds. I think that's just humans in general. And listen, again, had I not been in the position that I was in where I was covering this case so closely, I would have never gotten there in a million years. Like, I would have just thought everyone is insane. And I would have probably done a bunch of videos talking shit about them, because I would have been like, this is so dumb. Like, because I've done that on other ones. It's just this one, their behavior just stunk so bad, and I just couldn't figure it out for a very long time. But I do think that this is how you explain they faked it and then they killed him in the car one. I think that explains that one. Sherry Williams, thank you very much. Why a white shirt that showed everything? Wouldn't it have been better to wear a black or dark blue? Jordan, take it.
No, because the blood doesn't show up. And also, you don't want the blood to coagulate as fast, so you want the white reflective sun force defender for cooling purposes. It's so hot outside.
Yeah, I don't know. But again, I will continue to say I think that the freedom thing was not by accident. I don't think that was an accidental choice. I actually bought that shirt, but I got it in red and black.
You got it from TPUSA? I
did.
It's the grifter edition. You got to get it from Graphic Goat.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I figured.
There's also a quote that I'd found from Frank Turek at one point, him saying maybe a week or two after something about Revelation. He's like, Revelation 7, Charlie was wearing the white robe of a martyr.
Maybe.
Yeah, Jordan.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
I have this written out. Yeah. So he said he was wearing the white robe of a martyr.
Wait, who said that?
Frank Turek.
Frank Turek.
I have not watched any of those. Like, man, I bet you if I started diving into those like appearances, I would pull a lot of stuff. I kind of can't do it. But Being baby,
It's a
thank
lot.
you. Yeah, I bet, dude. Great show, Jessica. Can you give a shout out to Johnny and Marilyn in Chicago for me? Of course I can. Johnny and Marilyn, welcome to the team. I'm glad you guys are hanging out and appreciate your support. And thank you very much. Let's see. We got Chad Eagleton. What's up, dude? My very first super chat because I love Jesse and his fam. The best content on YouTube because you remind me of with my ADHD. If you're ever in Wyoming, we should hang and break bread, dude, for sure, my dude. I don't have any plans to be in Wyoming. However, life's weird, man. And you can hit me up if you're ever in the Austin area. And Kelly. Sean Henley, thank you for the super chat. If they faked his death, where could Charlie go now that Israel would never find him? They have eyes and ears literally everywhere. I have no idea. This was one of those ones that people throw at me all the time, and it's just I'm like, fuck, I don't know, man. Like they hide people all the time. And if he is in WITSEC, that's what if I was in his position and I wanted to take myself off the board, I would definitely do WITSEC because there's actual legal framework to keep them from like you do WITSEC and then legally be what do you got? Like given not indemnity or I don't know, not exonerate, but whatever. Like, there you go. Immunity for anything leading up to that date. They're over there. And I mean, I think about that a lot about like, what could you do and what couldn't you do? Cause honestly, I leave my house to go to jujitsu and to golf. And that's pretty much it. Like I don't feel alone. I'm here hanging out with my family all the time. And then when I'm online doing stuff, I'm spending time with people. Being isolated and not being able to go out would be obviously hell on earth, but I don't think that would be what his life would be at all. You guys have any thoughts on that?
It's probably hanging out with Elvis and Michael Jackson and lots of fun people.
Or Kenneth Lay, who the CEO or founder of Enron, who mysteriously died right before he was going to go to prison. I'm like, yeah, right. Kenneth Lay died. Best friends with Dick Cheney and the Bush family. It's like, oh yeah, he's dead. Let me see that body, dude.
I mean, he, really his entire adult life, we'll say he started this at 17, 18, right? So his entire adult life was, he didn't really get to have a normal, adult life.
It's all work.
So maybe he's able, even though this isn't going to be normal now, maybe he'll get to do some interesting things just in a different kind of way.
I mean, he's still working, dude.
For him.
Yeah, they tip their hand
for
like
him.
when Erica and them at first they were saying a lot of inside jokes in public, like a lot. Charlie's his schedule is absolutely packed up in heaven. That literally said that. That's like it's not verbatim wording, but it was something like and Charlie, he is busier than ever. Up in heaven. It was like, oh, okay, with Trump and them
down in New Zealand.
Yeah, and if you watch that, when Trump and all of them had, and Erica was there, and she's like, Mr. President, he is going to be with you every day. And you see that one guy who's 2 over from her, and he kind of goes like this, and she's like, in spirit. It's like they were. It's so fucking obvious, dude. It's like they won't do that shit anymore, but they were when they thought that they were getting away with it. Idle Vision, thank you for this. Why would Trump agree to Charlie faking his death and then go all in on Israel? Trump wanted to bomb Iran in the Stone Age. Why would he spare Charlie Kirk? He didn't spare Marley Taylor Greene, Candace Tucker out of character. Yeah, but dude, Charlie is like, that's different, dude. Charlie's completely inner circle with Trump. And when people are like, why would Charlie let TPUSA do this 180 and like, and let Trump go into Iran? Like, dude, no one tells Trump what to do, dude. Like, I mean, well, they do over there, but Charlie doesn't have juice like that, where he was actively trying to stop him from doing it all the way up to the end. And I understand how people would look at that and be, oh, well, that's why they killed him. It's like, maybe, but they don't need to kill him in order to, in order to actually go in there. What happens and I'm not even saying that they were thinking this deep about it, but Charlie losing his voice, though, was actually a much bigger deal than I bet you that he anticipated. I believe that he thought that he was going to basically transfer all of his political power over to Erica, and the fact that he couldn't speak publicly was not actually going to be a very big deal. I think that they planned on having Erica run as vice president with JD Vance, and they fucked the plan up in one way, which was they should have made her disappear for 3 to 4 months and then started leaking rumors. Okay. Like they just showed her that you never even need to hear her talk. But then they start leaking rumors that were like, dude, did you hear that Charlie Kirk's wife is working like 120 hours a week at TPUSA? Then start announcing things TPUSA is doing and being like, that was apparently Charlie's wife, bro. She's a savage, yada, yada. And then you build the legend of Erica first. Then after 4, 5, 6 months, and then you bring her out, and now she's gotten over the grief to the point where now she's driven exclusively by anger and vengeance. And she's like, dude, if I could have fucking scripted this, I get goosebumps thinking about how this could have played out, and it would have worked completely. Like would have completely worked. But they were impatient.
So
go ahead.
This is called in screenwriting. The exact thing you're talking about there is called the Synecdoche principle of characterization. Never watch any movie. I'll actually share with you basically like an essay that I wrote on this exact principle. At the beginning of a movie, of a really well-written movie, when they introduce a new main character at the beginning of the movie, what do? They show you the synecdoche, or the symbols that represent the character. They don't show you the face. They show you their shoes. They show you their props. They show you their sock, their tie. They show you their jewelry. They show you their music. They show you their beverage. They don't show you their face for as long as they can. They develop the idea of the character, the synecdoche of the character, for as long as possible to allow you to build the idea of that character in your imagination. And then only at the last possible second do they show the character's face. The synecdoche principle of characterization.
Yep.
That absolutely 100%.
And they show, I can literally see the whole thing. They show her one time at the memorial. She has dark sunglasses on. They show her with the kids. They control the narrative, and they're like, can you imagine what this family's going through? And you're like, fuck, man. Mm-hmm. And then you sit out, and then she, behind the scenes, turns into the biggest savage ever. You just hear rumors, and then
yep.
Man.
Yeah, they really could have just spliced a little bit here and there. They could have really kind of gaslit things, retroactively sort of said, oh, yeah, I mean, she was really involved in the past. You guys didn't know, but she was really involved behind the scenes. And yeah.
Yep. She could have been the first female president of the United States, for real. Like if they would have done it right, I think that is probably what their plan was. And they would have pulled it off if they would have done it. Just all they had to do is just be a little bit patient, dude. But hindsight's always 20/20. Though.
Can I show my screen here?
Of course.
I have this document that I wrote.
Whoops. Wait. How do I? There we go.
So this exact principle that you're talking about, where you don't show their face, where you slowly, dramatically build the character, synecdoche principle: show everything but the character's face until the last second, shows bits and pieces of the character or the essence of that character. For example, costume elements, what I just said. Do not show the character's face. Examples: Rose's intro in Titanic, Jack Reacher's intro, Indiana Jones intro, the Joker's intro in The Dark Knight, Mac's intro in the Newsroom show, The Great Gatsby's intro, Iron Man's intro, Aragorn's intro in Lord of the Rings, Forrest Gump's intro, John Coffey's intro in Green Mile, Hannibal Lecter's intro. All those movies, like really big movies, use that exact principle that you're talking about.
Yep. And she would, I mean, like they build her slow, then you rumor her out for about 4 to 6 weeks of like these little tidbits, and then you name her CEO, and people still haven't seen her. And then they're like, dude, she just got named CEO. Then you bring her out with the fireworks, and she just fucking, oh my God, man. If it would have been the exact same story, Candace Owens was Erica. They built it like that. She came out. It might have been the most dramatic moment ever, like ever.
Hire this guy. Hire this guy for TPUSA king of marketing or whatever.
Hey, next
their
time you
PR
guys,
guy.
next time you guys want to,
Next time.
pull them. Yeah, dude. Jordan equals Q. Whoa.
What does that mean?
It just means that you know what everybody else. I'm not sure. That could be meant to be a positive or a negative. Just depends on the source.
Kelly, what does that mean?
Like
it
QAnon?
means that you understand how things work.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah, I was never a QAnon person, but I watched. I don't know. Like I don't feel like there's anything that really kind of I can watch to capture it correctly. I don't know. Truman Show, thank you for the super chat. Can you look at the second floor windows? The guy in the camo with the bushes. That one you're talking about, the dude that was from the very beginning, like the shot from behind thing, and people said it was a shadow. I think I know exactly what you're talking about. That's like within the first 4 days. That kind of blew up. I don't know if you guys have looked at that, but Richard, thank you for the super chat. TPUSA equals RICO, racketeer, influence, corrupt organizations. I mean, I hope not, because there's going to be a lot of prosecutions coming up here just in general. I hate, I don't mean to derail this, but it's like this thing with Comey. Comey gets indicted now, and I know they're talking about, they're going to indict Obama, and I'm like, this is what this means. This is never going to end. They're going to do it to them. Then as soon as they get back in power, they're going to do it back and forth, prosecute. It's bad. Like all of that stuff, I think is going to be real bad for the country. But Snoopy, thank you for the super chat. My theory is that Charlie Kirk is in Montana. That's not even moderately impossible, because Montana has these enormous billionaire compounds that are completely on their own. You cannot access them at all. I won't say there, but a major investor from Silicon Valley that I know has one out there. I've never been there, but I've heard about it from someone who has a shooting range that is kind of like backing up on it. And he's told me stories about it. But that's the spot where you would do that. I believe that he stayed, I believe, at the governor's house a few times in the past. The TPUSA people have been to Montana a lot. We're there in October with lots of acreage, could hide their east. I was talking to Baron Coleman about this actually. And he was telling me that I think it was Montana, dude. He was saying that there's a plane that's going back and forth to this one place over and over and over and over and over. And man, I'll ask him. I think it was Montana, where he said that there was this a private plane that was going there all of the time. How could they put Charlie in jail? Well, the special counsel, I mean, if they want you in jail, they're going to find something for sure. And with the amount of money that was going in and out of TPUSA, I mean, like they got all those guys that they got from the first Trump, the 2016 Trump, the guys that got sent to prison. It was like stuff that was way kind of more weird and ambiguous than just like, here you go, here's on paper financial dealings that you guys had that could very easily be illegal. You guys have any comments on that one?
I think you're the expert on that one, actually.
You're on it.
I really enjoyed your video on that.
Lots of financial stuff that I've never pointed to anything specific that they were doing that's illegal, especially because I keep on saying, I don't have any ethical issue with how they were managing the finances in terms of we got to hire a social media marketing company and then we're going to hire our insider. Cause I would do the same thing. But I don't know if that makes me a bad person, but I would for sure. Okay. Kelly says, if Charlie Kirk's alive, do you think he watches your and similar creation live streams for shits? I think that if Charlie's alive, then these guys have definitely watched all of the Charlie's alive content without any shred of doubt.
My thing is, I know this isn't realistic, but part of me hopes that this whole thing is just a simulation. It's just a test to see or to show you that, hey, don't listen to the official narrative. Question the official narrative. It can be wrong. Listen to the people asking questions. I've always hoped it was just a test, like a drill, like a fire drill, something like that. I know it's not going to happen, but I sometimes wish it was.
Yeah. And I think that there are powers who are actively trying to destroy the United States from the inside. And I think that Charlie 100% stood against those groups. And I wish I could clock the entire kind of ecosystem of like power brokers who really run the world, because it's very much not the way like the way that regular folks kind of look and they think, oh, that's where the power comes from. It's like, there was a guy who did a TikTok about Erica Kirk who talked about that on like in where he was saying that politicians on those circles are actually seen as like a very low status, role. And that has to, I mean, that's almost certainly true because they get all their money from them. And then anyway, the entire system is built for corruption. It is just what it is. And John Richardson, thank you for the super chat. Scotty, thank you. Says cardioversion consistent with your theory. Just explains the initial reaction. That's hard to fake. Very easy. I sent a link to a reaction. If you're talking about the what's that called when their muscles freeze from spinal injury or upper cervical injury? Like what's that called? Like this, where their arms get raised and they freeze.
Decorticate posture.
Decorticate posture.
There you go. Yeah. So that was one of the major reasons why I thought it could not have been faked, is because coming from martial arts, I've seen so many people get starched like that. Okay. So in vernacular from like fighting, starched is, if you do a heavy starch, dry clean shirt, it means it's very, very stiff. And so like if someone gets knocked out and they get stiff, you're like, dude, that guy got starched. He looked just like all of the people who have gotten starched. But my buddy who was originally the one who sent this to me, he was like, look again. He's like, just look again. He's like, and just tell me what you see. Could he have faked it? And I watched it again and I was like, actually, he could have faked. It wasn't obvious that it was faked, but watching it a second, third, fourth time, I was like, okay, that could be fake actually. Because when that does happen, yeah, they don't unstick fast at all. What's up, baby? Almost done. Yeah. Okay. So, Matt Hatter, thank you for the super chat. And, this Charlie orchestrated the whole ordeal, freedom, because he said, till death do we part. Oh, so it was to get away from that witch. Wouldn't that, it'd be so fucked up if she's like the nicest person ever and ever,
She would be more intelligent, I think. If she were not a psychopath, she would know how to do it better. Yeah, but she is, so she doesn't know.
Yeah.
You would know not to do the casket video if you're not a psychopath. You would know that's the wrong answer.
Well, it'd be Charlie.
Charlie
would have scripted that. If we're right, that would have been Charlie's idea, probably, or at least a collaboration of people. But yeah, the cat. I didn't even see the casket video until I don't know how I missed that, but I didn't see that till way after. And I remember watching it. It was on one of my videos where I was like, "What the fuck is this?" Like, yeah, this is like, that is crazy town that they thought that was a good idea. Regardless,
how did you miss that?
I have no idea. Yeah, I thought you were covering this case, bud. Jamie, thank you very much. What's up, my favorite ginger? Thank you for what you always do. Look forward to your shows. I not only like but shared the love. Thank you very much. And I am about to react to something that the thing that you sent me earlier about the Romanian angel. Nope, thank you. Removed himself with kill switch. Trusted Candace to educate on EK background. TPUSA Financial, blue and white team takeover, similar to SPLC. He wanted his good name out of corruption. If things went wrong, go Max. See, again, the only pushback I'll give you is that I think the TPUSA had to have been involved based on their behavior afterwards. And on the day of, like they if we're right, they all collaborated to make this work, And I saw someone else say this. I do agree that that Kash Patel being like, and I'll see you in Valhalla. I think that was a code to the whole group, like Charlie's safe is what I think that was. You guys agree with that?
Yeah, it was pretty obvious, though. I would have expected him to be a little more slick, but he's also not exactly the smartest tool, the sharpest tool in the shed. So
That's fair. Ali Swires, thank you very much. The level of exposure this has given the church elevated them to the levels of Scientology and Hillsong. Charlie definitely would have gone to these lengths to lift the church to this, especially if there were other motivations too. TPUSA as well. You guys have any comments on that? Are we talking about like what church are we talking about specifically? Because if we're talking about evangelical church, like they're already much bigger than Scientology by a lot.
I thought they were talking about they elevated TPUSA to almost be like a mega church.
Yeah, I agree.
That's not what they meant.
I agree with that.
That's probably
what you
initial.
Meant. Definitely agree. And thank you again, Ali. T-Bird says, what if Charlie's stance on Israel was a cover to give motive for the left or Israel to assassinate, just part of the cover up? Totally possible, but unlikely, I think, because it was so obvious that this Iran thing was an absolutely huge calamity waiting to happen that I think, yeah, I mean, there's, you know what though? No, there's no way, because Charlie said things that they would never green light. You know, he called the Gaza thing a genocide. He, that kind of stuff, like they would never, I don't think that they would green light him to say stuff like that for any other, like for any reason.
I think he called it an ethnic cleansing.
There you go. He might have called it both. I definitely have a memory of him saying the word genocide, because I remember being like, damn, that is that's not allowed, as I understand it. You know, but he probably said both. I think it was on Patrick Bet David's channel when he said it on.
I think he said both phrases
on that show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
wow,
totally possible. Yeah, I don't think I watched the entire thing. Kelly, thank you very much. I don't believe in coincidences. This was a shot heard around the world, and all the odd connections to current events and the Epstein files. I have a feeling I know what he might be a witness to testify about. I mean, the only problem with that theory is that we know for a 100% fact that Trump has been actively covering up the files, and Trump would have had to sign off on this. And I think those two things bump into each other. What do you guys think? Like, she's basically saying that I think she's implying that Charlie was a witness to something that was related to the Epstein files, and that's why he would.
Yes, I think so. Yeah, I mean, he had mentioned even pretty recently something, you know, to Megyn Kelly about encouraging the Epstein files to be released. But I think that there's a good chance that Erica was, you know, whether it was that Erica was somehow involved in the files or he knew people that were involved in it, but also the literal timing. They were voting on them that day. Congress was voting on them.
Is that right? On
yeah,
September 10th?
Yeah, on September 10th. They were voting on releasing the files that day.
Wowzers. I did not know that.
Yep.
And instead of that, they released the Amelia Earhart files.
This is interesting. Overwise says necklace was tied to the flap in the neck with the nylon line and was used to rip a hole in neck as it was launched back behind. I think they mean prosthetic. I think I'm gonna have to jump here in a couple minutes. I think we should be able to get to the end of these, but I'm gonna have to jump right after. I gotta put these kids to bed, or else they'll be up all night. Okay, so James Bond's Q. Okay, and then twice. Thank you. And
character maybe.
Candace went to Montana right after 9/10. Is that right? How do you know that?
Because she had actually shared it. It was mid-October. Sometime around October 15th-ish, and she went fishing, and when she came back, she did this whole little thing. She shared a photo, and she talked about how Charlie never liked fishing, but she talked about a time that she and Charlie had been fishing. And she made this sort of analogy about that she was setting the bait. And so some have speculated that maybe she met up with Charlie or someone else during that little.
I do
trip.
agree with them that Montana would be a very like good spot for someone very wealthy to live out their now very relaxed ranch life. Truth is light. Oh, thank you very much. What do you think about the flesh colored paper with something that looks like a tube attached seen on the floor of Charlie Kirk's SUV second Candace photo release?
Don't really use paper with this at all. It's too crunchy.
Tyler Boyer was pardoned by Trump. Yep. Oh, I know about that. Him and so was Hoffman. Thank you for Kelly and Jordan and Jesse. Off topic but important. Jesse, bro, did you watch Tim mention Prejudice yet? I did not. I did not, but I will. I promise. Your mom rules. Andrew Kovitz sent a group chat to the FBI regarding Charlie leaving the pro-Israel cause, but then FBI wouldn't let Joe Kent investigate foreign involvement. How does this fit into your theory? Yeah, that's a big problem right there too. Because I mean, first of all, Cash not letting them investigate the Israel would line up exactly with this because Cash is for sure on the inside of it if we're right, you know. But Andrew Colvin would be also. Yeah. Agree. All right. I got to jump. This was amazing. Thank you guys so much for coming on. This flew by 3 hours and 15 minutes and it was easy, dude. You guys are the best. And everybody go give them a follow on everything. Their links are in the description. And if you guys want to watch my series on it, the playlist is also in the description. And thanks for everybody for hanging out. Peace.
Thanks for having us on.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yep.